What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to a new and exciting episode of the Viall Files Reality Recap Edition. I am your host, Nick, joined by the household. We got sweet boy Justin here. Allie, Leia, and Sierra are all with us, and our very special guest returning to the show, coming from the LA Times, the one, the only, Amy Kaufman.
Nick.
How you doing, Amy?
Good, how are you?
It's so good to have you back.
Now you're a dad.
Now I'm a dad.
Everything's different about you.
Really?
No.
No. Okay. Well, we are excited. Lots to get into today. We got Chelsea and Jimmy zooming in towards the end of this episode. Lots of discussions going on about them. Are they a couple? Are they not? Chelsea recently went on, did some other interview where she gave a little bit more context of some sort of like pocket call from Jimmy. Anyway, we have them on together. A little bit of a he said, she said. So we're going to hold them both accountable.
Boom, boom, boom.
No more like, do you get to say something about someone and do we get to respond? So excited to have them both. I'm really, because there's a lot of burning questions between.
Yeah, they didn't ask enough at the reunion about Jimmy and Chelsea.
I agree with that. They really left them out. So to your point, maybe for some reason they are coming off, or Jimmy specifically came off better than the other
What
dudes.
was your overall read of them? Because I felt I watching it was I think Chelsea has done an amazing job of, and I think Chelsea isn't getting enough credit, or maybe she is, but she's done she got a lot of heat. Obviously the Megan Fox whole thing that was national news, it really became a moment, and she handled it as well as anyone could.
Totally.
She was able to laugh at herself. She was able to have fun with it. I don't usually recommend diving into the comments, but when she did, she wasn't fighting with people. She was having fun, and she's only come off more and more likable as how she's handled herself coming off the show, which is very, very difficult to do. And most, especially Love is Blind, cast members do a very poor job of that because there's this like instant fame. There's a lot of feeling themselves, and Chelsea has done, I think, a fantastic job of navigating that. But yeah, they've also been leaning into like, are they together? Are they not together? Is this for clout? Is it just to keep the story going? Meanwhile, like now Chelsea's kind of like throwing a little shade. Anyway, so we have them together. And hopefully we can get to the bottom of it. And also, Jimmy mentioned that he wanted to like shoot a shot with AD. Like, where did that come from? We also heard a comment. I've heard a rumor that in the pods, Jimmy referred to himself as Christian McCaffrey. And that wasn't aired.
I think Chelsea said that.
Chelsea said that.
Chelsea said that was his celebrity look.
But like,
But did he say that? Or
Christian
is that
McCaffrey is not Megan Fox.
No, he is not. Correct. But he is
with Olivia Colman.
It would have been nice, too, if they would have kept that in the show, though, so it wasn't just like Chelsea
yeah.
out of nowhere being like, and by the way, I look like Megan Fox.
I know.
Yeah, well, Chelsea still brought up the conversation, but
Jimmy had one.
Jimmy had one, too. Yeah.
I agree with you that Chelsea handled that so well. I was like, literally everyone online is calling you like hideous. That's so mean. And she's just laughing.
She deserves a gold fucking star, an A+. She is, and we've been hard on her, and like, she's been a good sport. She's been such a good sport. And I say this because like, I think a lot of people, like reality TV people, especially how we cover the show, we always try to acknowledge that when we're talking about all these shows, for the vast majority of the time, we're talking about people we've never met in person. We're talking about a TV show and we're responding to the TV show. And just another reminder for the people listening to this show. And like, we reserve the right to be wrong because we're talking about characters. Now, sometimes, especially in Bravo world, it's a little different. We have met some of these people. We have interacted with some of these people, and that's where it kind of becomes interesting. But we, when it comes to Bachelor or Love is Blind, we don't fucking know these people. Right. We recognize that these shows can potentially be edited. So we're not talking about them as the people. We're talking about their characters. But as we see them interact online and in the world, then that might be able to change a little bit. But yeah, it's like if you go out there and we all know the whole celebrity lookalike game, but if you're going to play that game in public, it's a tough world to navigate. If I go around and start talking about good-looking celebrities people have told me I look like, I better be prepared for some feedback.
Did you guys ever do that when you were, I don't know, you're not single either.
No.
When you were single and dating, would you, if you were on an app and someone was like, you look like this person, or like, would you ever throw that out there or no?
No. If someone wants to say that, you always got to downplay it, even if you've been, because it's It's a recipe for disaster. And I'm not trying to like, but Jimmy, he's a fine looking fellow. I mean, listen, it's all relative.
Well, I think part of the appeal initially, whenever Love is Blind started, I was like, okay, these people aren't like on The Bachelor. It's like the girls sometimes feel really unrealistic looking.
Yeah, they're pulling how do we say on this show? Conventional looks.
Did you feel like when you were The Bachelor that
when I was the Bachelor?
You're never going to admit to this, I'm sure. But when you were The Bachelor, did they cast women that you thought in your real life you could have actually gotten with if you walked up to in a bar? Or were you like, these are hotter than usual? Like, did they cast women that you think if you were not The Bachelor, you could have had a chance with physically?
Could have had a chance with?
Yeah.
There's no way I can answer this
I
know.
Gotcha.
Let's just say I was stressed night one. I really wanted it to work out. And after night one, I was stressed.
I feel like it was Ben Flajnik. Like, there have been bachelors who've been like, yeah, I would never be able to get with the caliber of like attractive women that were here. But back to Love is Blind, I think like I like that it's people who I'm friends with and who I see on the street in normal life. Whereas it feels more like beauty pageant queen on some other shows. So not to say they're unattractive, but
I also do like the fact that it's like they take from the same city, but it's like real people with real jobs. You know what I mean? Where it's not so much like LA where it's like, I'm a dog walker, but like I really want to be an actress. You know what I mean?
Yeah. People are so offended by the number ranking. And I'm just like, if you're going to do the number ranking, everyone in their mind, it's like, what am I? And in their mind, they're thinking 1 through 10, but it's not. It's always 5 through 10 because people are deeply offended if you use numbers like 4, 5, and 6.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
But 5 is average, and average is pretty damn good. Yeah. But people, it's just like, you're a 6. It's like as if you call them a 2.
That is as if you'd call someone a 2.
But I've never heard anybody say anything below a 5. So it's a really good point.
That's true.
Those are off limits.
That would be like, oh.
But like, in what world is everyone average looking or above? Listen, growing up in Wisconsin, I definitely, I'll shamefully admit that I probably saw myself as like a 9 or 10, and then moved to LA and was like, holy shit, I'm a 5, And then not to mention you go on The Bachelor and you have everyone comparing you. I mean, I got compared to like the Ghostbuster 2 villain, John Lithgow. I had a tough run of comparisons. And people commenting on all your facial features, like my nose is fucking whatever the fuck,
Ugh.
We don't do the number thing.
I don't do the number thing.
Are you more of a hot or not?
Just, am I attracted to you or not?
Yeah.
Smash or pass?
Literally.
Smash or pass.
Forget the numbers.
Exactly.
So would you rather be a 6 or a hard pass?
A hard pass.
I was like, yeah, depending on who.
I agree.
A pass, and I don't need to know why.
Yes.
That's what it is. Just
It's like,
pass
if you're
me.
not attracted to me, cool. But like, one's like, you could be better.
6 is above average is all I'm saying.
Yeah, you're not wrong mathematically.
I just...
The math is mathing.
Anyway, have we found Kate Middleton?
That's quite the segue.
We have not found Kate Middleton, but now people are saying that she has been found and she was out with her family, but no one happened to take a photo.
Okay.
They're the worst liars of all time, the royal family. They're so...
I have a confession. It was me in a wig. On a stroll.
You do kind of look like Kate Middleton
Thank
a little
you.
bit. Yeah.
What?
I don't...
That's my Megan Fox.
That's Justin's celebrity lookalike.
Kate Middleton and Megan Fox combined. So we're led to believe that she was spotted by other Brits.
This says Kate, who underwent abdominal surgery, was reportedly seen looking, quote, happy, relaxed, and healthy on a visit to a local farm shop with William near their home in Windsor, England on Saturday.
Not one paparazzi. Not one fan photo.
Not one camera phone. Not one
because
grainy,
I'm
like,
so glad that
one of these
the future
selfies
leaders
where it's
of
like...
the country can go visit a local farm shop with no security, no one noticing. But we can notice that they're happy and healthy.
Yeah. Make it make sense.
They're kind of smart, though. This is definitely the royal family's doing, but they failed
And
the whole...
I want to know the tabloid hierarchy.
Yeah.
Like The Sun, how trashy is that in the UK?
Like, is that our reality blurb?
Right. Is that like Life and Style, or is
Page
that like
6?
Us Weekly?
But that's what's confusing, because I feel like during the like Amber and Johnny trial, like it was very much like The Sun said. And I'm like, yeah, to me, I'm like, I feel like it's like the National Enquirer for us, but I guess not. Maybe, Daily Mail equivalent.
I don't know. I'm always seeing like Love Island stuff on the Sun.
Right. That's why I thought it was like a trashy tabloid, but I don't know. They're like they get like court documents and everything. So, I mean, I don't know. It's a little.
Well, you should know this. You work for the LA Times. Like when it comes to like a publication.
Yes.
I don't know. How does the LA Times decide like how highbrow they want to be, or like how
inciting another like taking news from another outlet?
Not like, or just like we talk about pop culture and reality TV. We're joking around. We don't consider ourselves as some sort of journalistic outlet here. This is an entertainment show.
Yeah.
You know, certain publications I feel like have gone from more real reporting news to like part of the pop culture conversations, or part of, you know,
right.
Like not. How do these outlets decide to do what?
I think, like, for Kate specifically, like, I know they wrote about the photoshopping of the AP thing, that they took the photo back, and I think like critics have weighed in on like the scrutiny that the royals are under. But I don't like running a thing like this. That's like, she was seen on a farm. No, I don't.
Actually, I have an off-topic, unplanned question for you.
Okay. Why is there a clown nose?
Oh, this is my stress ball.
Oh, okay.
Jay Shetty.
Uh-huh.
You did a whole nice little thing on him. It recently came out about him being a potential fraud.
Well, did you read the Guardian story?
I did.
And what were your takeaways? Did anyone else read it?
I did not.
Little promo here. The LA Times Festival of Books. I will be interviewing Jay Shetty.
You will be.
On the like stage there, and I will be asking him about this.
You will. He's
it's in April.
Nice little tease. That's I'm very interested. Yeah, I think my biggest takeaway is I think it just all sounds like a very crafted, you know, career. That maybe even his trips, it was more about knowing the power that it would be to say, I'm formerly a monk, or I study with monks. Because that gives him instant credibility with anyone who listens.
Do you think Daisy's music video is giving her credibility with...
No, unfortunately, I don't think it is. I say good for her, though. I say good for her. Have you seen this, Amy?
No.
Daisy, arguably the most likable person from this season, arguably. One of the finalists of Joey's season, and potential Bachelorette candidate. What was that line?
I'll say it again.
Lick on my sack.
Lick on my sack and suck on my nuts.
Lick on my sack and suck on my nuts.
I can't.
That's like the closest thing we've ever gotten to, from the windows to the walls to the blip, 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 my balls.
Sweat drip down my
I'm
balls.
not okay.
That's a good song, though.
Who is this individual?
Well, Daisy is in the music video.
Wait, you missed her singing part.
Oh, yeah, we missed her.
I'm not okay. He says it okay. So you got it home.
Wait, I love that her part is like this sweet, like, I just want to love you. And he's like, yeah, that's fine, but you can suck on my nuts.
Do we know what's the story of the song? Like
the story, like, what does the song mean?
Yeah, like, are these two lovers like telling two sides of the same? Is this like Jimmy and Chelsea? Like,
if you open the YouTube link, the video doesn't exist anymore.
Amy's having.
We're dying over here.
Wait, did the Daisies?
So the video doesn't exist on YouTube anymore. So we were able to watch it through Reddit because it was embedded. So like this video's, they've taken it down for whatever reason.
How long has it been? Was it available on YouTube like a day ago?
I'm sure. I mean, people pulled it on the internet, so I'm sure it was.
I need to know that person's name.
Is ABC trying to get ahead of like their next Bachelorette?
Well,
they're too late.
It resurfaced.
Is she going to be the next Bachelorette?
Someone said
if she does, she needs to make a music video promo. That should be her
that's her
promo.
date.
Yeah,
all the guys come in.
The Bachelorette on that.
I mean,
Amy will write it.
And she was clearly doing a favor for a friend.
How do you know?
I was like,
or he was doing a favor for her.
Yeah.
Isn't it his music video?
Yeah.
Right. Maybe she was trying to.
What's the artist's name?
Well, I don't think.
Get him on here, please.
Well, he definitely looks like a guy who could have been like obsessed with Daisy his whole life, and he wrote this song.
His rapper name is Abes with the $ for the S.
Oh my God.
So ABE $.
What date did this come out? What time period are we talking
They
about?
removed it, so it's unclear.
We can't find an original year.
Wait, but is this supposed to make her look bad, or what's the vibe?
I don't think it.
She looks
We
great
just
in the
found
video.
it. She looks great. I mean, she's
a good friend for making a cameo in a song that's
I was going to
insane.
say, it's also
listen,
like
it's
Reddit.
2024. We now live in a world where everyone, I don't care if you're from Minnesota or LA, you can be, you can produce your own content. You can make your own videos. You can like, I think it's, yeah, we're all having fun, but like, listen, this guy tried. And he reached out to his friend Daisy, who like maybe has like a little background in like choir, and was like, "Hey, do you want to sing this?"
She sounded good, I thought, honestly.
And she said yes, probably not thinking, "Well, what if I get casted on The Bachelor? Am I going to regret this?" And like, yeah, we're all having a bit of fun, but like,
okay, but like,
good for them for trying.
When she's standing there, like, wow, like this man, these lyrics, like, I will lend my voice to him. Like that does. I'm like, girl.
Yeah, no, it's not that, you know.
This was 2021.
Oh,
okay. So 3 years ago.
Oh, I was kind of hoping it was much further back than that.
So glad you guys showed me that. That made my day.
I'm just wondering when, like, yeah, he asked Daisy to do this, if she was like, just sure, I'm down. I want to be super helpful, but like, can we talk about lick on these nuts and suck on what?
Wait, I need to know what the edit actually says.
It's ready to go.
I wonder if he showed her the whole song.
You can lick on my sack, suck my nuts now.
Yeah.
So it's not even grammatically correct, but
I added an and.
Yeah.
But this is the 2021 version of like every guy was like, what's my thing? How do I get chicks? You know, a lot of guys picked up the guitar back in the day, you know, and it wasn't because they're obsessed with music. It's all about getting attention from girls. Like, spoiler alert, most straight men, like when they're growing up, they're just figure out what is their thing that can hope to help them attract women. Sports, playing guitar, being a rapper, sucking on them nuts, whatever it is. Like he's trying to impress the ladies, you know?
Well, my question is kind of related to what we talked about last week with like Love is Blind and like Sarah Ann and the Jeremy of like you said people don't go on these shows without wanting to further their career or an opportunity. Like, do we think that Daisy tried to be a musician and then was like, hey, I guess I'll go on The Bachelor and see what happens?
I don't care how sweet Daisy or any of these women come across or how authentic they come across. And I think watching this show, it seems like Daisy genuinely has real feelings for Joey.
Mm-hmm.
I think two things can be true at the same time. You can show up to these shows as a sane person. And by sane, because I think you're insane to show up for a show truly thinking and only showing up for love. To show up for Love is Blind or The Bachelor, being 100% there for the right reasons, I think is insane. To show up for a reality TV show and truly be there for the science experiment, knowing that this will be recorded and edited in a way you have no control over, and that you're there because this is your only chance at love, that's delusion.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you can show up for this experience knowing that it's going to be a once-in-a-life opportunity, it's going to be crazy and cool, and if you're open to it, and if you're open to like showing up to this experiment, and that's what it is on both of these scenarios, and immersing yourself in these environments, and you're kind of like choose to go with it and kind of be open to whatever this process is, you can also develop real feelings. And then after the fact, you can decide whether these real feelings are authentic or not, or you're just a product of the environment.
Right.
You know, that's the emotional journey all these people go on. So I think, yes, I think Daisy, like every other woman on this show, showed up in a hopes of like, what could this happen? Some of these people show up for these seasons, like who's Trevor?
Mm-hmm.
Completely disingenuous, having a girlfriend, thinking they can actually, you know, narrate their story, having a whole plan. I'm going to do this, I'm going to say that, taking notes. And some people do that. Some people show up being like, I don't know, like the idea of becoming famous seems cool to them, but like they don't really know what that means. They don't have a plan. They didn't sign up for this. They didn't expect to do this, but like, do they want to be famous? Of course. And can they show up and fall in love and not know what to expect? Absolutely. And I think Daisy falls into the latter bucket, I think, but not one of these people who show up for The Bachelor hate attention, don't hate the idea of becoming famous. They don't, you know what I'm saying? They're all open to it.
Right.
At some point in their life, they were center of attention. They were the it person at their school play. You know what I'm saying? They were the one in their group of friends that thought like, you know, you're our Vinny Chase. You know, you're going to make it in our small town and you're going to one who's going to be famous. And like, you know, every single person who ends up on these shows has thought of them potentially as a star, whether that ended up being true or not. Every single one. You don't show up for on these TV shows with knowing, like we've all seen it go terribly wrong for so many people. And you don't show up knowing that this could go terribly wrong for you without thinking, but I'm a star. you know? And I don't fault anyone for that. So like,
because you had the same impetus.
Yeah. I mean, like, I was just like, the idea of it becoming someone, sure. And I didn't expect to. I expected to go back to work. In fact, I did go back to work. But did I hate the idea that somehow, some way, this could turn into something greater than I ever imagined? Of course not.
Yeah.
You know? And yes, I literally had a conversation once. I will never forget being drunk at a bar in my 20s, and one of my buddies, when Entourage was a big thing, being like, "You're our Vinny Chase, man." And like the delusion that went in my head.
My God.
But imagine all these, you know, like, you don't think people from small town, whatever.
No, just those words specifically.
I mean, we've all said cringy things in our life, you know, like, but I'm saying these are the conversations friends have with each other that propel them to go on shows like this, that give them the confidence that they can even do this, you know, like we've talked about, many people told Chelsea, "You look like Megan Fox." And she was like, "Yes, I do. And I'm going to go on a TV show and I'm going to become famous. Someone planted that seed in her head, you know, and all of our friends have played a role in our own delusion and allowed us to go on these fucking shows. And, you know, roll the dice.
This is Daisy's delusion.
Yeah, and this is Daisy's delusion.
I was like, do we also think that since it's being scrubbed from the internet that she never thought this would resurface again?
I also just looked for Abe's and I couldn't find him.
Yeah.
I like to think that he's like a lawyer or like a doctor or something. And was like, yeah, he's like, absolutely not. This video does not exist.
Well, this is his big break. He should come back now.
Yeah.
Wait, so what's worse, telling someone to lick on their nuts or Lindsay accusing someone of their sobriety breaking?
Oh.
Psycho King.
Yeah. Lindsay, by far. By far. This was a rough episode. I just feel like this is a rough season for Lindsay, but like she did it to herself. I'm sorry.
Amy, what are your thoughts?
On Lindsay and Carl?
Yeah.
So I got into a lot of text discussions after the fact about this. And
when you say after the fact?
After the episode,
okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And there were, I did have some girlfriends being like, okay, but like, yes, I know clearly Lindsay generally is not looking great in this relationship. But all of my friends had this like spidey sense that like maybe there is some truth to Carl's aggression being legitimate. That like
maybe.
That he like has kind of not like this, what did she say, Jekyll and Hyde division in his personality, but that there is like he's coming off a little too rosy.
I have to say, though, I'm like, Lindsay has pretty much portrayed her dark side throughout the seasons. So I also think there's a lack of self-awareness there where I'm like, if somebody was accusing me after 2 years of working on myself in sobriety, my brother's OD'd and died, like for that to be the accusation from your fiance, like that to me, like that's projection versus like an analytical response to whatever situation is happening.
Yeah, it's just like, it's sad that she is clearly insecure about her drinking and the way that it manifests. Yeah. And so her only reaction is to just like turn it on him. Like that's how she deals with her insecurity.
Is it possible that Carl is a reality TV professional and super hyper aware of cameras so that he can turn it off and on knowing he's being filmed? It's possible, but I think unlikely. I think the way she is describing someone like Carl to be like easily triggered and hyper emotional, like she referred to Carl as Sandoval. Mm-hmm. We've all seen Tom Sandoval operate in this world outside of being filmed, right?
Yeah.
And what Tom Sandoval has, if nothing else, proven is that he can't help but be himself. With, you know, regardless of what criticism may come his way, he is who he is.
Right. But Carl is, I think, more conscious of his image.
But she is describing him as some hyper, easily triggered, hard, you know, like unpredictable person. And he just comes across as very measured. Is he like, you know, when she was like fighting with him, is he getting irritated and frustrated and I guess raising his voice? I mean, we've gone from trying to like point out like, oh, you know, you can't raise your voice to like acting like people in relationships aren't humans. Like they're supposed to be these monotone people when they get in a fight. When Carl might slightly raise his voice, he's clearly irritated. Is that a sign that behind or like when cameras aren't being aired, that he's some sort of volatile, reactive person? No, and not necessarily.
I think it was more like, you know, they did some flashback clips to some of their like I think he's probably
well, he was an addict.
Yeah, he was.
He was cocaine
that
Carl.
Was before
he was
but
an
he
alcoholic.
still possess those attributes.
Well, Lindsay's playing into like the old Carl.
Yeah.
And you can tell that he's going through this mind game of like, I'm actively trying to be different, but you're telling me that I am the old Carl.
Yeah, and we're just not seeing any signs of it. And boy, that would be some really incredible work that Carl's done to overcome his addiction, but also be able to control his anger so much when he's hyper triggered in these intense atmospheres. He went from this kind of broken person who couldn't control his own actions and substance abuse problems to now being able to like turn it on and off on camera.
Saying, like,
I don't know.
Lindsay is for all of what she is, she's smart, okay?
Very.
And she came out of the gate saying, I was blindsided by him dumping me, like, you're going to be, he called the cameras, he's like this unfeeling monster, knowing that we were going to see this whole season. So like,
yeah, it's shocking.
And I also don't
so could she be that disconnected from the reality
I don't think she remembers. I'm like, to be completely honest,
from drinking?
If you start it, she starts drinking at like noon every day throughout the weekend. So I'm also like, by the time they're having this discussion, and I'm like, I don't know.
Those fights were like ongoing. It wasn't just the weekend.
But what I'm saying is that I'm like also being somebody who like doesn't drink, being around a bunch of people that aren't drinking, and Carl being okay with it. I'm like, that takes a lot of work to get to, because even on a night when I used to go out and drink, if I was the one not drinking, I have zero patience for people, and he does. So I'm saying for them to get into a car and him be irritated, and then for a fight to start out, and him saying, you're the one that's causing this, I'm not, I just want to go home, and you're saying that there's an issue. I think she's perpetuating an issue because she's intoxicated and thinking that like she's reading into things that aren't actually happening and creating a narrative for him. So that's why I also thought it was rich that she was saying that you're changing the narrative, when I'm like, what narrative? There should be a discussion between two people.
She's sticking to her narrative.
Exactly.
And I also think there's an element of her thinking she's going to get the benefit of the doubt as a woman on reality TV. I think there's a little bit of that. I think she just assumes that people will believe her. And I think she's gotten to me, it's like she honestly tried to start. I mean, when she called Carl Sandoval, I don't even think that was a Freudian slip. I think that was strategy. I think she knew what she was saying. I think she was planting the seed to the audience. I mean, it's Lindsay PR.
Yeah, it's the second time she's done this too, because she said that Ariana, the only other person invited to the White House was Ariana. Like I think she's planning to be the next Ariana.
She's hyper. I think she's trying to be the next Ariana and becoming the next Tom Sandoval.
Actually,
it's backfiring.
Yeah, because but what is Sandoval? Sandoval is a story that happened on reality TV that perpetuated the show itself and became conversations greater than the show. And that has propelled Ariana into this like stardom that goes well beyond Vanderpump. And like, I think that's the dream for all these Bravo characters, to be bigger than the show itself. Mm-hmm. And right now, I don't think what Lindsay and Carl's drama is anywhere close to what Sandoval has become. But if it is, it's picking up steam. Like now we're like every week we're talking about, I can't believe Lindsay is like, this is her angle, like this whole gaslighty type of attitude to like weaponize Carl's addiction against him. And she is becoming the villain in this story because it seems so delusional. And it seems like, to your point, like how could she came on this show and told a very believable story, and that's what she just left out all the context. It was just, it was all about being blindsided. It was about, hey, I know we're on a TV show, but this is our real lives and we were really engaged. And how can you do that to someone you love despite us being on a TV show? Watching this show, I think is triggered. Like I was triggered. I know what it's like. I've been in relationships where it's just like that person is always fucking like making you defend every fucking action. Everything you do is an accusation. Everything you do is some out of pocket, like, oh my God, what do you like? You can't get mad. You can't raise your voice because it's like Lindsay is yelling at Carl and asking him, why are you yelling?
She won't even she won't even like play with him. You know what I mean? Like where it's just like he made a joke and she's like, yeah, that's not funny. Or like when he's like, hey, can you hang out with me? And she's like, what do you want, man? But then as soon as the other people came, she was like, okay, let's have a drink and have fun. Yeah, so
dismissive, so demeaning, down, like makes him feel less than, like, 100%. And we've all been in relationships like that. And Lindsay is, and I think you're right. I don't think she has any idea of how I think she's very smart, but I think she lacks some self-awareness of how she comes across that kind of very calculated PR Lindsay.
So you don't think there's anything the rest of the season that could come out between now and?
Of course there is. I mean, I don't know. Like, if there is a scene, I mean, next week of Carl like losing his fucking shit and all of a sudden being this, sober or not, just unleashing on Lindsay and saying some very mean, aggressive things out of pocket, kind of like how Lindsay seems to be acting now, then all of a sudden I'll be like, okay, maybe there's something there. But so far we're four episodes in, and it's been Carl has been nothing but sober and calm and like seems to be trying to turn a corner. And then when his fiance, the person he is supposed to trust the most, his emotional support system, he is trying to maneuver against just grenade after grenade after grenade of accusation. And when there is nothing, you watch reality TV, when you get accused of something on camera that you weren't expecting, false or not, like you're like, what the fuck? How do I even respond to this? We live in a world where accusations, people just,
it's true.
It's true.
Or it could be,
It could be true. How could even like, well, why would Lindsay say that,
And coming from his fiance of being like, he's on something, it's like, well, I would trust you before I would trust him.
So,
but I'm like, at this point, if he pulls the plug on the engagement, I'm like, oh yeah, okay. Makes sense to me. Like just from already what's going on.
Yeah.
So I don't understand how she could just like say it was out of nowhere.
No, I mean, listen, Lindsay, we'd love to have you back on to explain it. I don't know what she is going to say because it doesn't make sense. And I do think Lindsay is smarter than that. But I think even if you are intelligent, as Lindsay clearly is, I think you can get caught up in
the like, but we made up. Or like,
and I think you can lack self-awareness at times. And I think she was as soon as Carl broke up with her on camera, all she thought is, this is so fucked up. She discounted everything that led to that. And I think how it seems right now is that she was like, holy shit, this is fucked up. Didn't even think about what led to it, and decided to try to get ahead of it to craft a narrative that regardless of what led to Carl breaking up with me, the way he broke up with me is unforgivable.
Right. And it's I'm doubling down on
how like Sandoval's like, Sandoval, any chance he gets is just like, well, Ariana did this. Ariana did that. She didn't do that. She didn't do that. She demeaned me. And we're all like, we don't give a fuck. You should have handled your shit in a different way. Yes. And I think Lindsay that's her brain. She's like, it doesn't matter what I did to Carl. He broke up with me in the most unforgivable way, and I'm going to crucify him for it. And people are going to sympathize with me. And it's just apples and oranges.
Gabby said something really, really powerful in this episode. It's your responsibility as his partner to know how to communicate with them. Yeah. And I feel like that's the one thing that screwed up their situation. It's very one-sided on her end.
I also think that there's, dynamics in their relationship where I feel like when you're comfortable with somebody or longevity, you kind of fall into roles and you don't even like really see it happening. And hearing that he's gone through multiple career changes and ideas and that she's investing money and all this stuff, I think that there's other irritations and other issues that aren't being addressed.
Right.
And so she's taking it out on like, well, I do everything for you, so you should just be grateful that I'm yours. And they're not having an honest conversation about what's going on in their relationship.
That she's resentful of all
that. That's the thing. She might have valid things to be frustrated with Carl at, but the way she is going about doing it and just she's going from 0 to 10, and just going at him hard without the context. It feels icky and manipulative, and with a lack of any empathy of what it might be like to be in Carl's position. I don't know what it's like to struggle the way Carl has struggled.
Right.
And just because you struggle with substance abuse isn't a hall pass to be a shitty human and be like, well, I had a problem. But at the same time, you are allowed some grace, especially when you are trying to turn a corner and make good decisions. And then if every mistake you make on your come up, you get, someone goes back to like old you without ever giving you the benefit of the doubt. And that person is the person who's supposed to be your biggest cheerleader.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Heartbreaking.
That's tough. We have Jimmy and Chelsea. They're ready to go. But when we come back after Jimmy and Chelsea, I do want to discuss Carl's appearance on Watch What Happens Live, because I think he's very adamant about getting Lindsay's ring back. Mm-hmm. And I am curious the audience's and the household's thoughts on when an engagement couple breaks up, Is there a hard rule? Does the guy always get it back? Is it circumstantial? Like what do people think about who should be getting the ring in a broken engagement? And then we'll get into Bravo. Zoa, you gotta check out Zoa. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's energy drink Zoa just launched a brand new campaign. It's all about the BDE, Big Dwayne Energy. They've got a really awesome new commercial that you can check out at Zoa's Instagram or YouTube channels. Zoa Energy is a better for you energy drink with great taste, electrolytes, B and C vitamins, and 0 sugar. It's made with caffeine from natural sources to provide balanced energy with no crash. When you drink Zoa Energy drinks, it gives you Big Dwayne Energy, which gives you the swag, confidence, and energy to help you conquer your day. Here at the Viall Files, my team has loved Zoa to give them the extra boost to get through their days. With ingredients that enhance energy levels, Zoa Energy helps my team find the spark and motivation. They've got 8 incredible flavors, like tropical punch, wild orange, white peach, and now frosted grape, which happens to be one of my team's favorites, along with cherry limeade. So get some Big Dwayne Energy and order Zoa Energy today. Available online and at stores near you. Find out where you can find it at zoaenergy.com and find retailers like Amazon, 7-Eleven, Costco, Circle K, and more. All you new parents and expecting parents out there, we got something for you.
A product that we are obsessed with.
Obsessed with. It's rewarding to advocate for things we know that is helping us be better parents, or honestly, just it's helping us make our lives easier by giving our daughter what she needs and, most importantly, enjoys. And the Dreamland Baby Sleep Sack is an absolute must-have. If you are an expecting parent or you have a little one already at home, you can get your Dreamland Sleep Sack in days. So you need to go ahead and order one right now, because I promise you, your baby will sleep better, you'll sleep better, they'll instantly calm down, they'll look so comfortable in a little sleep sack, and you'll be super just like excited, and it'll just warm your heart.
It's a weighted sleep sack. So it evenly distributes weight from her shoulders to her toes, which I like that it's not just on one part of her body. Also, it's her arms are out. There's a 2-way zipper, so we can change her diaper in the middle of the night and not like have to, get her all fussy. We just unzip it from the bottom and roll it up, change her diaper. It's so perfect. She's definitely, I feel like it reminds her of like we're still holding her, you know?
Yeah.
Or like we're hugging her.
Yeah. It's like, it's like that, when you put them in your arms and they calm down. It's the same thing with the Dreamland Sleep Sack. It's incredible. I absolutely love it. It's absolutely been a game changer for our lives. We're getting better sleep. So is River. You have to get it. I don't know what more I can say, but you trust us. Trust us as new parents who know what we're talking about. You got to get the Dreamland Sleep Sack. So to get your Dreamland Sleep Sack, just go to dreamlandbabyco.com. That's dreamlandbabyco.com and enter our code VIALL at checkout to receive 20% off site-wide plus free shipping. Again, that's dreamlandbabyco.com. Use code VIALL. This offer is for new and existing customers, so everyone can enjoy. You're welcome. Chelsea, we are so grateful to have you. Let's just give it a round of applause for Chelsea, everybody. We're super excited to have you. Chelsea, first, I just want to start off by saying how proud we are of you, of how you've handled this whole experience. Like, it's much easier said than done. I think a lot of people who go on these types of shows very quickly think very highly of themselves, and when they are criticized early on, they handle it very poorly. Obviously, you've been highly criticized. We've given you a hard time even on this show, but like, you have handled the criticism just perfectly. I mean, honestly, you've only become more and more relatable and likable, and we've all said things and done things that we regret, and we've all said things that we deserve to maybe be teased by our friends. When you say those things on a national show, it's not going to be your friends teasing you, but like an entire nation of fans, which can be very hard to navigate. But you've navigated it with such grace and such poise, and it's like a job well done, because it's very hard to do, and I think you've done a great job doing it. So props to you.
Thank you so much. It's been a stinking journey. It's been a wild ride that I did not know this was going to be the outcome of it. So I thought I was going to be dragged for staying with him, and it ended up being complete opposite.
What do you mean dragged for staying with him?
I mean, we had a lot of difficult moments that just were not shown. You guys don't even see, half of it, or why I was reacting the certain way I was, or why I was begging and, being super whiny and begging for attention from him is because I wasn't getting that. So, I thought this whole time I was preparing myself, okay, like people are going to drag your ass for just not listening to the sounds and seeing the signs that this guy did not like you. So I was preparing and, I was preparing myself for that. And it just ended up being the complete opposite. So it's been crazy. But
watching the season back, of the show back, like, how did you see yourself? Like, if you were watching it, obviously not knowing your own journey, did you see things about your relationship with Jimmy that were eye-opening to you even?
Oh yeah, for sure. I was living in the story, so I knew what was going on, and the way I was feeling was so validated. I was so right. But seeing it, and I'm like, there were so many things that shocked me, like his sweet interviews. I'm like, what? Like, where is that coming from? Or the reveal. My Delulu head thought that was so sweet. I'm like, this is such a sweet moment. Like, we had the most amazing reveal. I had no idea. So looking back on it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I was Delulu. I totally was Delulu. And I was seeing our relationship with these rose tinted glasses. And I was just seeing what I wanted to see and like hoping that it would get better. But it just, never did.
So all of this internet, like, shenanigans between you and Jimmy recently, what's that all about? Are you guys teasing a relationship? Are you in a relationship? Are you guys just kind of doing it for the clout, the attention? Like, what's going on online with you guys, and where do you guys stand now?
He has been very wonderful for me during this whole journey. He's just, like I said, we did not expect it to be flipped onto me. So he's just been, he's the only one who knows what happened in our relationship, and same with me. So for him to kind of come out and really support me and have my back has been very, very helpful. So we are just friends. There is absolutely nothing going on. I've seen what I needed to see. I've been told no multiple times with him, so we're not doing that crap again.
And so you went on and said that you guys tried to date for 4 days after the proposal. Like, what was that all about, and why only 4 days?
That's where I screwed up, is because, like I just said, I'm just so different than I was filming, because if you told me no multiple times and I still give you a chance, shame on me at that point. So after filming wrapped, he expressed to me, he tried to take me to a baseball game on our wedding day. And he just said that the cameras were too much. The pressure was too much. And I was frustrated because I'm like, you knew this going into this situation. So, I was gung-ho. I was ready. I was dedicated. I was ready to get married. And really saying yes and agreeing to go on this, date with him. We tried for 4 days and it just wasn't. It was the same.
And when you say try for 4 days, what did trying for 4 days look like?
He made me dinner one night, took me to my first baseball game.
Did you guys hook up?
Nothing changed. Yeah.
Okay. That's not nothing.
No, and it was nice, and yeah.
Oh, here he is. Is this your quiet room?
This is the best I can do, man. I did want to make an appearance.
I appreciate. Listen, we appreciate you coming on, man. We're excited to have you, especially the two of you together. Because I feel like there's a lot of he said, she said situations going on, and now we can finally get to the bottom of all of this.
Yeah.
Debunk it.
Yeah. Well, before you hopped on, Jimmy, Chelsea kind of mentioned that you guys dated for 4 days after the proposal. She's saying your praises. She was very gracious, said you guys were, you've been a good friend to her. I did want to ask you something. Well, both of you. Chelsea, recently there's been this viral video going online, you talking about a pocket call situation of Jimmy being out with the friends after he claimed to have been, like, I guess, going to bed or something. And that maybe played a role into you, played a role into some of your insecurities or questioning yourself. Can you articulate what you said on that that's out there? And then Jimmy would love to hear your rebuttal to that.
Yeah, so I went out and had some wine with Laura and AD. And Jimmy was out with someone from the pods as well, one of the guys from the pods. And, I was right down the street from our townhouse. And he texted me and asked if he could stay, if I cared if he stayed at his own place. And, I responded and said, no, that's fine. Space is good. Do your own thing. I knew he was out with the guy from the pod and they were going to, whatever. Then he FaceTimes me in bed and hangs up. And this, we're in the thick of living in Charlotte together right now. So it was pretty loud at that point. And so I thought giving him his space would have been, beneficial for both of us. And, everything's heightened. So he hangs up with me. We're on the call for maybe a minute, and then he hangs up, and then
so that wasn't the pocket call. Like what was said?
No.
What was said on the FaceTime call?
That he was going to bed. He was tired. Okay. He was in for the night, and 2 seconds later, butt dials me, and I hear everyone laughing in his apartment, talking about where they're going to next.
Jimmy, you want to pop in here?
Wait, I just have to add, I apologize to him for bringing it up, but this is my story too, and I'm getting my absolute ass handed to me. So for me to speak my truth and tell my side of the story, that's fair. So I did apologize. I don't want him to get dragged. I don't want him to get any amount of hate that I'm getting, because it's a dark place over here right now. But I'll let you speak on that.
Well, tell us, wasn't this after our breakup?
No, it was not.
It was not.
We were living in the townhouse.
Okay. Well, at the reunion, I spoke up about me being pretty mentally checked out. And at the point after you mentioned my friend, and we were kind of going through the motions at that point, we talked about that. But this was after that huge fight. Ultimately, I felt like I wasn't getting enough space. So I respect you for giving that to me. That did happen. So I am sorry about that. It's it's kind of one of those things where we should have ripped the Band-Aid off after that last fight, because that was kind of the last straw for me. And I stuck around. I love Chelsea so much. I mean, it is blown up out of proportion, all of our fights. But the way I looked at it is they were things that were helping us overall. There was a lot that we were dealing with at that time, and I was so proud. I just hated how we were getting compared to other couples, because it took us the longest to actually have a fight, and a lot of people don't know that. And so when we started to have some conflict, I was encouraging it, because I wanted to see how she handled conflict. And getting a little off track here, but point is that was after the big argument. And what was one piece of my story that wasn't included was I told Chelsea after that argument that it was a no at the altar. I mean, I told her that I care so much, I'm willing to take it day by day. I reiterated that every single day for the remainder of the time we were in the experiment together. And that wasn't brought up. And yeah, that was not a great move by me to lie to you and then go out. But I felt cornered in a position where I was getting thrown in my face that I was a party animal. My mom watches this. I knew what I was being subject to, going on a reality TV show. And you were claiming that I was going out all the time, and I wasn't. To be honest, I felt like I wanted to go out more at that time. And it's because I didn't have my cell phone. I wanted to bring you with me. I wanted to introduce you to my friends. We're on an expedited schedule to meet as many people as we can. I have a ton of friends, and I want you to meet all of them. I mean, it's we're 10 days away, and we're having these really, really bad fights. And I think that's just a key piece that just wasn't mentioned.
Well, thanks for clearing it up. So, Jimmy, and thank you for saying all that. And I appreciate you guys having this conversation. But I guess, as Chelsea has pointed out, she has been through it. The internet has been vicious. We even had fun at her expense on this show, with the voices and the clinginess, and the edit, and we know the show, we know that this show can be edited, but the edit is that Chelsea was unnecessarily insecure, unnecessarily clingy, created her own kind of Delulu universe where almost making up shit that you were doing and sounding crazy? And are you here to say that the majority of Chelsea's insecurities or frustrations towards you were in fact valid?
I just want to point out that argument, that piece where I was on my FaceTime and then she heard people cackling in the background, that was after we had our really bad fight. I do want to point that out.
Fair enough. And I'll take
Chelsea
you at
Chelsea doesn't.
I'm curious, what's your point to that, though?
A lot of the things that I said throughout the experiment, there was 1,000 ways I could have worded it better.
Okay.
But when I said she was clingy, that was a very, no woman really wants to be told that. I'm aware of that. But in the time, that's how I felt. And so it was kind of like I was telling Chelsea exactly how I felt throughout the experiment.
Here's my point, Jimmy. Yeah, I hear you, and I really appreciate you coming on and talking about this. And like, I'm not here to relitigate the edit or anything like that. We know that these shows can be edited, and we know that sometimes your story isn't exactly how you remembered it, or vice versa. But now that we're here and we have both you together, and the show's done and it's wrapped, and we've seen the reunion, can you say on this very large show that many, many hundreds of thousands of people are going to listen to, that Chelsea was justified in her feelings towards you because of some of your actions that we didn't get to see? And are you willing to kind of say that and put it out there regardless? And again, we know that like you didn't have wrong intentions. We all know that this is a crazy atmosphere that like, hey, I honestly don't even know how you guys are able to navigate this world. And I understand you would have done things differently and would love to hear that. But I just want to hear, is it yes or no? Was Chelsea's actions or what the insecure Chelsea that we got to see, that wasn't out of nowhere based off of some of your actions, whether you meant to or not, and that, she is in fact not Delulu or crazy, and that your actions led to some of this behavior that we didn't get to see?
My point is that was one action. And so that was later on in the experiment. So I would ask, what else was my actions not matching my words? Because I was forward with you the entire time. And I do want to preface, I don't think Chelsea deserves any of this heat. And I didn't view Chelsea, even in my relationship, as her insecure. I didn't view that. All I knew is when we laid our head down at night, no matter what type of argument we had or we had a good day, there was so many good moments that weren't shown. When I looked her in the eyes, I could tell that she was there for me and she meant me and, loved me unconditionally. And that's all I could ever want. And so I was fighting so hard because I could see how much she loved me. But like, I personally felt I was communicating every step of the way with how I felt, whether she liked it or not. And that was a lie and that was my mistake. But that was after the fact this all got blown out of proportion. So like, basically every fight that we had, all this was after, is my point. So like
after what, the breakup? Or you guys?
No, the buildup of everything we just talked about, like that FaceTime call never happened. So I would just ask, what other specific moments did my actions not match my words? Because everything we saw on camera was after that. But I've apologized. We've had this conversation, but.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we know that even on the show, like timelines don't always match up. And, again, things can be shown out of order. It's just more as your friend Chelsea, it's just like, are you willing to say, listen, I regret some of my decisions. I would have done things differently. We all make mistakes, but Chelsea is justified in some of her feelings towards me based off of my actions, rather than letting the audience decide for themselves whether she, was losing her mind because of her own insecurities. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yes or no?
I mean, this is weird. What do you mean?
Are you talking to me?
You know your actions.
Oh yeah, okay.
What other actions though?
Oh, your words were not ever
my point is what everybody saw on camera happened before the only action you brought up.
I have a question. Okay, for example, you said you have a lot of friends that you wanted to introduce Chelsea to. Why did you choose two female friends, one of which you've had relations with? And like, did you tell her about that before she met the friends, or did you tell her about that after?
I told Chelsea as soon as I got my phone back because she saw her texting me, was super curious. I told her the moment we got our phones back.
So it's before she met her?
Yeah.
Okay. And then like, but do you think that, because I mean, the argument that you guys got into with everything, it seemed to me now justified a little bit, because out of any of the friends, okay, I guess my main question is, why did you choose those two friends of all the friends to bring on the show to introduce her to?
So the closest person to me had, I think, 7 people brought on the show outside of like weddings. I had 11 people. I had 6 friends, and 4 of those friends made 2 different appearances.
Okay.
And they highlight, and that's just the guy friends.
Yeah, okay.
They highlighted the women.
That makes sense.
Because they highlighted the women. And truthfully, both of those women, like, yeah, like they knew that, I mean, that person knew that how risky it was for them.
Right.
But that person didn't want me to tell Chelsea right off the bat. And I wanted Chelsea to know because she needed to know every inch of me if we were going to do this thing. And yeah, maybe got set up a little bit to bring the women on camera, but like it's an expedited process. Like, what am I supposed to do? Just throw every woman out of my life just because like I've found a fiance in 2 weeks? No, I'm going to introduce her to all the people that are currently in my life and the people that are go to battle for me and the people that love me and care about me. I wasn't having a physical relationship with them at that time, and I disclosed it to her the moment I got my phone back and the moment she asked about it. Okay. I mean,
that makes a lot of sense. So just to recap, it wasn't just those 2 friends. They were one of many friends, but as you know, like you didn't control how things were aired, and they highlighted those 2 friends.
Yeah, and it makes total sense why they highlighted those 2 friends.
Sure,
considering that it's the emphasis of our breakup. But it wasn't fun. I mean, they both came on with pure intentions to help and support me. I mean, I was going to a reality TV show, and I was thinking of like getting outfits together and all this stuff. I was leaning on them a lot. They did me dirty with the first date outfit. We can all agree to that. But they helped me religiously. At any moment I had a question about something, or if I wanted to like learn about the show. I don't watch reality TV. I didn't watch the show prior to going. I asked them their opinions. My guy friends aren't going to talk to me hours on end about me going on Love is Blind and how this is a good idea. All my friends, my family did not support it.
Right.
They supported it, and I wanted them to help me and meet her. And they wanted to be friends with her. Like, they were excited to do that. And even to this day, they still both do. They both think the world of Chelsea, and they know that, like, our story's so wild because there's there's a lot of things that Chelsea and I went through, and people are going to have their own opinions, but I didn't view Chelsea as an insecure person in our relationship. I still don't view her as an insecure person.
Okay.
And
great.
So it's one of those things where, it's too juicy to not add in there, but I had a bunch of guys on there. Like, I had the most guys of any of the guys.
Okay.
And I have a bunch of friends, and it was appropriate for me to bring the girls. I don't care what anybody says. It's appropriate for me to bring those girls. I've dated 2 women. Seriously. I've dated a girl for 4 years, high school sweetheart. I dated a girl for 4.5 years through college. Both of them girls knows that I had a bunch of girlfriends, and I took a step back the moment that I got in a committed relationship. Because of the nature of this being a very fast experiment, I thought it made so much sense for her to meet them prior. And then I'm willing to take a step back. But I'm not willing to take a step back when it's being thrown in my face and we're pointing fingers and there's no physical relationship. So like, there's a lot to it.
So question. Now I hear you out. I understand that this isn't exactly real life, but like, do you see, but people watch it as real life and try to compare it to their real life. So my question to you is, had you and Chelsea worked out, right? Do you think, just in general, going forward, you and Chelsea aren't going to end up together. Someday you'll find the love of your life. You'll get in a committed relationship. Do you expect to maintain those friendships with those women? Because I get it. As a single guy, when I was single, I had plenty of platonic friendships with women. But then once I entered into a committed relationship with someone, like it changed the dynamic. Like, do you acknowledge that that's going to eventually change?
I do. And both of them acknowledge it too. It wasn't one-sided. I've had conversations with them about the moment that they have someone in their life that they feel special. It'll probably be weird for that person to be uncomfortable. So like, we'll take a step back, and it's like, there's not even gonna be a question on either side. The point of me bringing up past relationship is I've done that in the past, and I will continue to do that for my person. but just the nature of it being so freaking fast, I'm like,
no, I hear.
Let's unload the house and introduce her to everybody.
Totally hear that it's fast, but you can appreciate from Chelsea's standpoint that like you're basically like, hey, I know in the real world I would do this for you, but I'm not going to do this for you. But also like you have to decide whether to get married to me, and that will be real regardless of the show or not. So you were basically saying you're not worth it for me to do this, but I would do it for someone else outside of the show.
No way. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying because it's so expedited, I'm going to unload the house and introduce her to every single person that has any impression of my life.
No, I get where you're coming from. I'm saying, do you understand where Chelsea's coming from? Because
I do understand where she's coming from. I think our story is so unique in the fact that, like, I don't think that there's a wrong person in it. Like, she broke a level of trust for me, and I totally understand where she's coming from. Like, she was weak and she was vulnerable during that night. That's not really shown. And so I would encourage people to give her a grace.
Chelsea.
Oh, Chelsea.
Okay. Maybe one too many espresso. What was it? 30 martinis, Chelsea. I'm sorry. It's
Chelsea, like, what do you got to say? Jimmy's been talking a lot. What do you got to say, Chelsea?
I think it's just go into the co-ed relationship. It's not the girls being the friends. It's not any of that bothers me. What bothers me is that there was zero boundaries and there was zero respect. So when it came to them and her and I, like, I've apologized to her. I've reached out to her. I feel so sad that I brought her sex life into the world. So it's not even the fact that they had a relationship. It's just I wasn't getting the respect that I was giving him. So it's just interesting. And, I was trying to see past it to the point where, he was asking them for like relationship advice and, stuff like that, where I love that he has people in his life that love him because he is so wonderful. But where do we draw the line? Because just like you said, like, we're trying to get married. Like, yeah, if you're not willing to take a step back, do I say yes to you? Do I say no to you? Are you going to be are we going to be in couples therapy with her? Like, what's going on?
Yeah. I mean, how do you get married to someone who's like, listen, I will not stop hanging out with my girlfriend who I hooked up with? Like, oof.
I will add, and he brought it up, like, I have a friendship with my ex-boyfriend. So there's I wasn't trying to be a hypocrite, but I respect Jimmy, and I wasn't, I FaceTimed him when I got engaged because I was so excited for him to meet Jimmy. And, we have this we have a good friendship. He's married, has a baby, and I was very respectful of Jimmy, and I'm not texting him. I'm not calling him. He was in a different state. It was just, a respecting of, hey, here's this new journey of my life, and I want you to meet him.
Yeah.
So, I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to bring that up.
Jimmy,
I'll say the day we had our really bad fight, we had probably the best day we ever had, and that day wasn't shown. And then I started to see where the conversation was going, and I'm a little sassy. I don't know. I just I 100% will take a step back, but in that moment I was not willing to because I felt like my back was against the wall, and I knew where that conversation was going. And maybe like if I don't know, I hate bringing alcohol into it, but it's like that wasn't Chelsea. Chelsea didn't talk to me like that. And I just felt like I got aired out. So
gotcha. All right. I got two questions for you, and the household might have some more for you. But one, are you shooting your shot with AD? Is that a real thing? Because I'm seeing all over the internet that you would like a chance at dating AD. Where do we stand there? Do you want to publicly stay? Do you want to shoot your shot here, or do you want to retract that statement?
Not in front of Chelsea. No, I'm just kidding.
I
thought you guys are friends. Yeah, like the
fun. AD and I have been going back and forth, laughing about all of it. Her and I were pretty close through the experiment. Clay is one of my good friends this day, and I just admire the couple. I gassed them up, and it may have came off that way. I think she's an amazing person. She's one of the coolest people we did the experiment with. And I guess those comments were more of like, never say never type thing. And then E-News is like,
would you go on a date with her if she said yes?
I think there's a lot of fish in the sea. And out of respect to Chelsea, I think I should probably stay away from women that we did this show with that I dated already.
All right. Okay.
Good job.
He's learning on the job. We love it. Can you clear up the whole Christian McCaffrey of it all. Did you compare yourself? Like, where did that comparison come from? Was this another, Chelsea being set up, where they're showing one side of the story and not the other? Can you shed some light on this, please?
Yeah, I did say Chris McCaffrey. I did give a modest version of it. I was like, I don't know if it's a Walmart or Wish or I said less Jack version, but I did say that. But
less
Chelsea
Jack version.
Chelsea also put clarity on like she doesn't look like Megan Fox. It's
no, we know. We've
reaction.
Yeah,
it's my reaction that made it all blow up. And like, I was having fun. I was 6 beers deep in there. I was doing my thing, and she said that, and I like, so like it's my fault. And so we've talked about this. It's like it's funny. It's not funny for her. But I think
it's funny. It's funny at this point.
I think our like saving grace through all this is being able to laugh at ourselves. And so it is what it is at this point. But I did say that, so it could have went either way.
Okay, all right. And what are you in Vegas for?
I'm attending a pool party in Vegas.
Okay.
Is there? Are you being paid for that pool party?
Yes.
Well, good for you. Pop off. Yeah, it's definitely not good for the brand, but like it might be good for the pocketbook. Yeah.
You think going to a pool party isn't good for his brand?
Jimmy, you're acting like the world's not going to see it. There's going to be people taking pictures of you there, buddy. Like, you don't got to be cagey with us. You might as well just explain yourself here before people start seeing out of context photos of you at a pool party. Woo, what month are we in?
March.
It's a bit early for a pool party. You need to be
never in Vegas.
No, it's just funny because I've been dying to have a chance to talk to you, Nick, and big fan. And my one thing that I was wanting to cover was me not being a party guy, and then I'm like taking the call with this opportunity here. So that's on me, but
it's all right, man. Like, listen, you're allowed to make some coin. It is what it is. Two things can be true at the same time. But we're big fans of you too, Jimmy.
Thanks, Nick.
Jimmy, we really appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Have fun in Vegas. Yeah. You thanks for being a good sport, man. It's all good.
Yeah.
All right, buddy.
All right, we'll talk soon.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Charles.
All right. What do you have to say about all that?
He is such a goof, I swear. It's just so interesting. He's just gonna die on this hill that he went out once. And this was a world I was trying to navigate during the whole experiment. And I remember one of my really best friends knows Jimmy from college. And she was like, we were shocked that Jimmy was the person you picked because he goes out often. And I'm like, well, everything's aligning. And it's crazy. It was just a wild west I was trying to navigate with him.
Chelsea, why do you want to maintain a friendship still with Jimmy?
We didn't talk for 6 months after filming. So I ran into him out and he asked me to go to coffee, and we just really sat and talked about our whole journey and everything that, I just thought, we both thought he was just going to have this horrible, horrible, horrible perception of him from the world because of how he was to me off camera.
Wait, so are you kind of pissed about, like, I feel like we were talking about this earlier, like Jimmy kind of got like a glowing edit, like compared to Trevor or
Clay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you think that's a fair, could it have gone another way?
Yeah, because Jimmy definitely looked like the guy who picked someone who had a ton of insecurities and found a problem with everything he did, and he desperately wanted to make this work, but like you were sabotaging the relationship at every turn, and you forced him to basically end the relationship. That's basically Jimmy's edit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's also
we're shocked. All of us are shocked.
What's also weird too is Jimmy made a comment at the reunion about Jeremy saying, "At least I didn't get the villain edit." So is that is that implying that there's a lot more that went on behind closed doors that everybody else is privy to, but you just got the edit that looks like you're making up things in your head, but really there was stuff going on?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, all the girls and I are super close, and we were very, very, very close during the whole filming process, and they knew everything going on. Like, they knew I felt a certain type of way. They knew his actions weren't matching his words, and he kept telling me, I love you, I love you, I love you, and I care for you, I'm going to fight for you. But it was like he was more concerned with his friendships, or he would get so jealous when the guys from the pods were all together, but there weren't any fiancés out, just guys from the pods. And I'm like, okay, I get it. You're trying to build these friendships and you care about your friends. I do as well. But you're more concerned. This was not a show to make bros.
Right.
This is a show to find a wife. And, you know, I repeat this so many times. I was just there for the whole shebang, and I was there for a husband, and I'm trying to make this relationship work. I'm going through the trenches trying to make it work with you. And you're more concerned about going out or going, you know, even if it wasn't going out to like drink, like you're more concerned about spending time with your friends rather than me. And so I should have just known right then and there.
Well, it's like I hear Jimmy's, I get his side, so to speak. Let's take Jimmy at his word, and that when this night of pocket calling happened, that he was mentally checked out, that he was just like, and listen, this is a crazy fucking thing that you guys all signed up for. I don't even know how I would handle it. I don't think Love is Blind, so I couldn't do this show. You know, I couldn't do it.
It's intense.
It's intense. So like props to all of you, right? But taking him at his word, like I can understand how he's just like, I don't love this person. She's not my person. No offense against you, but like, and I don't know how to navigate. We're still filming. I'm stuck in it. I get all that. But like, it seems to me that Jimmy is trying to, as much as he can, and it's very hard to do, and we're seeing him try, I think, and fail at it, it's like, you can tell there's a lot of mutual respect between the two of you. For all of this messiness, that it seems like you two want to have each other's backs, but at the same time, it's like you are also struggling with the weight of the internet coming down on you, like as hard as anyone's ever been coming down on, and you're trying to justify how you're coming across and pointing out certain things that just factually happened. And Jimmy is trying to, acknowledge some things because it's what happened, but he doesn't want to let go of his edit that has been so favorable to him, and he's trying to thread the needle. And if Jimmy, let's say, were to call me up prior to this show airing and being like, here's what really happened. Let's say I sat down with two of you. I would have been like, Jimmy, just come out publicly hard in Chelsea's defense, acknowledge all your wrongdoing. I always say how I'm always very critical of people on reality TV because they're always very quick to blame the edit or their peers or producers when things don't go their way, and very quick to take all the credit when things do go their way. And had Jimmy come out and done the opposite, had he come out and be like, hey guys, this was a very difficult situation for all of us. I honestly tried my best to find love, but you're not seeing some of the things that I did to drive Chelsea to this type of behavior. I'll explain it when I can, but Chelsea is justified in her actions. I think people would have loved him for it. Instead, he is trying to thread the needle. And listen, I think it's fine he's in Vegas making some money, but that's him threading the needle by wanting people not to think he's a partier, but still saying yes to these opportunities. And it's just like, hey, you're going to have to deal with how people interpret your actions. Anyways, what do you think to everything I'm saying? Am I on the mark, or do you think I'm way off here?
You are on the money, because I had to explain to him, like I said, I don't want him to get this type of hate by any means. It's a dark, dark, dark place over here. And I swear, like the way I'm navigating this whole situation, I just don't think he could handle it. And like, I'm not saying anything bad about him. I just think if it were roles reversed, it would be a completely different outlook. I think he would really, really struggle with it. So when I had a podcast aired talking about one situation that went on in our relationship that really led me to feel the way I feel, he wasn't very happy. And so I had to navigate that situation, because now we do have this awesome friendship and I don't want to ruin that, but also I have a story to tell as well.
Yeah, I mean, like half the internet thinks that you're just losing your shit for no fucking reason.
I know. And I told him, I said, I respect you. This was a year ago, but I have so much to say. And that's why at the reunion, I'm like, oh man, like I had so much to say and I just didn't get that opportunity to do so. So it's just crazy. And I ask for forgiveness after I speak.
It feels like he gets so caught up in like the data or maybe like the gamesmanship of it. And we watched it even today. He's saying, I had the most guy friends out of every guy. And he didn't like it when he was like, why would you say they have a stronger connection than we do? We need to be the best. Like, it's like, he feels like he can rely on these statements of like, oh no, we're killing it. We're perfect and get away with it.
I think Jimmy's well-intentioned. I just think he is.
He is.
He is.
He's wonderful. He's absolutely amazing. I will speak nothing but highly of him. I think our situation was like horrendous, but I don't think, I went in there, like I said, I was there guns a-blazing. I put everything of my being into this experiment. I just don't think he was ready for, obviously, a marriage.
Do you think he ever was?
I don't know.
Because didn't I see something on the internet of him being like, now I realize I'm not only not ready to get married, but I'm not ready to have a girlfriend, like date at all.
So when we dated for our long treacherous 4 days, it was so brutal. But he broke up with me. I remember I was at the pool and he called me again. I gave him, this was like the 4th time he told me he didn't like me. Like, come on, girl. So he calls me and he was like, this experiment made me realize I don't want a relationship at all.
Chelsea, do you think you would have said yes had you guys made it to the altar?
So at that moment, at that day when he, called it off, I was yes. And every day was different, which is so interesting because I really went up to the last possible second I gave myself. I said, you know what? I'm going to take every moment I have to use this experiment efficiently. So that day at Carowinds, when he called it off, I was a yes. The day before, I was a little iffy. We're still trying to figure out our situations. This is a weird experiment. That's so normal. A lot of people don't know what they're going to say as they're walking up the aisle. Like it's very, time is of the essence. And that's why before he told me twice he was going to say no at the altar. And I begged him, and I swear by this, I will never beg another man to ever give me attention or quote unquote love me. I will never beg someone else. The fact that I had to beg him to see the experiment through is so embarrassing. So I will never, ever, ever do that again. And I think right before he called it off, we were walking into Carowinds picking our wedding songs for the reception. So it wasn't even just like, walking down the aisle, like, okay, we're going to the altar, whatever. It was our reception songs. And we were both gun-ho on what we were going to be choosing. So I think it was just a mental game for me at that point. But the week before Carowinds, we had the most amazing week. I met his friends. I went out with him for the first time. He let me go and we had the best time together. And I just was in a really good spot. He met my family. It was just such a huge mental fuck. I don't know if I can cuss on here.
You can.
You can.
I want to say you're being really like lighthearted about it all and like sort of like making fun of yourself and being hard on yourself. But I think like we're getting all the context for everything, You're coming out of a scenario where you don't know how the guy really feels about you and if he's attracted to you and you're not feeling the validation you need. So I think to be that hard on yourself retroactively is like, I'm glad you learned from it, but I feel for you when you're saying that stuff.
I can't say enough, just like how much you've crushed the fallout of this show. And I say this as someone who's got a lot of fucking heat in the past, and it's going to pay dividends just how well you've played the criticism that you've received and how much willing you've been able to just have fun with it and how gracious you've been to some of your peers. I think it will definitely serve you well going forward. And I think your friend Jimmy could take a few notes because I do think he's well intentioned, and I do think he, like everyone else, is just trying to navigate this very crazy world. But I think instead of trying to like thread the needle, because like even said it's like he it was almost lost on us because he did say, Chelsea's great, Chelsea was right, but it's like we had to almost pry that out of him, and
that's how I felt.
And it followed him trying to justify it, being like, well, the timing was off, rather than him coming on and saying, listen, at the end of the day, she had valid reasons to be upset with me, and that wasn't shown. We don't want to hear excuses. We don't want to hear explanations. We just want to hear accountability. And Chelsea has been so vilified and so beaten up by the internet that a little bit of accountability from someone who's gotten a lot of praise and looked like the hero to Chelsea's villain, he's trying to thread the needle, and I think it's backfiring.
Love to thread the needle, Express.
Well,
yes.
You love a good expression. Do you have another expression for this?
Keep going.
He was so worried about his edit. He was so
worried,
and I was preparing him for how to navigate that. And so for me, which I don't know, I'm new here. I don't know what to do with my hands. Like, I did not expect. I even told my mom was so worried. My mom's struggling with this whole situation. I said, Mom, there's nothing that I did that will make me be bad in this situation. And yeah, I was emotional. I was, crying for him to show me love and give me what I was, I wanted to see and hear. He's just telling me everything I want to hear, but it wasn't authentic, and that's why people are like, why'd you keep asking him? Why'd you keep asking him? I'm like, it wasn't real. And I felt it in my gut and I felt it in my intuition. Always trust your stinking intuition, I swear. So I just told my mom, I'm like, Mom, I'm Gucci. I skated this whole year. I was like, I'm so good. I was my authentic self. I might have cried a lot, but I was me. I didn't give a crap about the cameras, and he did, and that's why he got lucky.
Okay. Well, Chelsea, thank you again for taking the time. We really appreciate it. We wish you the best of luck, and thanks for being such a good sport.
Thank you. Congrats on your baby. I'm just obsessed with you. So
thank you so much. We appreciate you coming on. You've been great. Thanks so much.
Great. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Me undies. There's nothing I love more than matching my underwear with Nick. Y'all know I'm clingy and would love to be inside of his skin. And I can't be inside of his skin, but we can have matching underwear.
And I'm a sucker for cheese. And I mean cheese and cheesiness. And there's nothing more cheesy than having matching underwear with your loved ones. I'm super into it. And you
was like, did Me Undies come out with a new cheese pattern? I'm so confused.
Quite honestly, if you want cheese underwear, I'm willing to bet Me Undies has you covered.
They have style for everyone.
They have so many different patterns. They have the crazy, out of the box, super
expressive
fun, expressive prints. And then they have your more traditional, solid colors. But the best part is there's high quality, breathable underwear, and not breathable where you have two wears and it's there's already holes coming through them because the fabric's so thin. Not Me Undies. It's both durable, long-lasting, and it keeps its form after you wash it. They don't bunch up. Some of that underwear up there, it's you wear them and they're just start creeping up them thighs, and it's not fun. Not
Thank
enjoyable.
God Nick can speak for the men, but I can speak for the ladies who, sometimes you got a little something flapping in the wind. Not with Me Undies. They keep everything controlled, tight, in where it needs to go. You know what I'm saying? They also come in sizes extra small to 4XL, so it's guaranteeing a flattering cut for everybody.
So keep it tight and keep it fun with Me Undies. Get 20% off your first order plus free shipping at meundies.com/VIALLFILES. That's VIALLFILES Viall Files. That's meundies.com/Viall Files for 20% off plus free shipping. Me Undies. Comfort from the outside in. I have a story for you. Natalie one day was like, Nick, I lost all my sunglasses.
Okay.
Which was exciting for us because those sunglasses that she lost were, well, let's be honest, hundreds of dollars.
Okay. Well, now I'm frugal.
Well, now thanks to Gooder, Natalie can lose as many glasses as she wants because they're $25. And they look just as good as all the expensive ones, which is I don't understand the sunglass game. Gooder is making top of the line sunglasses that if, blind taste test, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between a Gooder pair of glasses and pick your name brand glasses that are wildly overcharging for the same type of styles. And quite honestly, less of a variety, if I'm being real with you. Again, now Natalie can lose as many glasses as she wants.
They're 100% polarized and only $25. They're lightweight. I love how comfortable they are just to wear all day. I don't get annoyed with them on my face.
Also, I think the best part, Natalie, let me know if you agree, is I hate when I put sunglasses on the top of my head and then it gets caught in my hair.
100%.
They don't do that.
100%. You've got like a cute little ponytail and then you put them on and then it just pulls. But terrible.
That alone makes it worth it. And well, you don't have to take our word for it. They have a 1-year warranty, 30-day free returns, 100% satisfaction guaranteed. Gooder is 100% carbon neutral company. So if you are tired of wasting money on sunglasses and you just want great looking, reliable glasses that, quite frankly, if you lose, no big deal, you got to check out Gooder. If you want to support the show and pick up a pair today, Gooder is giving Viall File listeners free shipping on your first order. Wow. You would think for $25 glasses, that would be enough, but they're giving you more. Now it's free shipping as well. You can go to gooder.com, that's GOODR.com/VIALL, and use code VIALL to get free shipping. Gooder offers a 30-day money-back guarantee and a 100% satisfaction. Find your pair at gooder.com/VIALL and use code VIALL to get free shipping. Yeah, what do we think?
I love Chelsea. I'm a new fan.
You weren't before?
No, I liked it. I mean, going off of from what I saw, I was like, well, I don't think we would be friends, but I'm like seeing her talk and kind of getting to see the side that other women that have come on the show have talked about, where they're like, Chelsea's actually very strong and can speak for herself. Like, it's like nice to see that side of her versus her in a relationship with Jimmy.
They both love you, Nick.
Yeah, they do. They're both fans.
Well, I wish them both the best. I do.
I also thought it was interesting hearing that they only filmed from 6 to 10 p.m., where I'm just like, there's so much.
Oh, wait, is that what they were saying?
Yeah. They said that's
he was always in his house. He needed to work and have space.
Damn. So she's saying he didn't talk to her except for 4 hours at night.
At 4 hours
but
in the day.
You know how like in real life relationships, right? Like
you're texting all day and stuff.
No, but here's what I'm saying. It's just like, we'll get a lot of people who call in, and their situationship is like the it relationship these days, right? And I always tell people, like, if you actually want to end a relationship, do the selfless thing and just end it, even at the risk of them thinking you're the bad guy.
Yep.
Let them hate you, let them be angry at you, but let them go. You don't have to be a jerk, don't say anything mean, but just be honest with how you feel. And I think Jimmy, again, trying to navigate the edit, being hyper aware of the edit, was one way on camera, and then off camera would kind of massage Chelsea a little bit. I think he was off camera. It sounds like that's the impression I got, being like reaffirming his feelings. And it's like almost every time on camera, Chelsea looks like this girl who, even for herself, it's like, how did you not see it?
Mm-hmm.
But it sounds like off camera, Jimmy was like, but we should work on it and we should try, and I love you and I have feelings for you. And like, it's like, oh, well, which one is it? And we've all seen those relationships where like one day it's just like, this is how I feel. This is how I feel. And then right before that person's like, you know what? I think we're finally done. It's like you tell your friends, but like, you know what? We're done. We're done. But then that person comes back and says, well, maybe we should try. It's like, well, wait, we should try. And like Chelsea was the hopeful person in this side of things. So she's always going to be like, anytime Jimmy gave her a glimmer of hope.
Yep.
She said not even a glimmer of hope. He said twice he didn't want to go to the altar, and she still begged him. So yeah.
But I just think, again, I think Jimmy was well-intentioned, but I think he was too worried about being the good guy that some of these things are coming to light after the fact that almost makes it come across as a little manipulative, even though he might not have intended to that. And I think it was him trying to look good all while dealing with this relationship. And I think, to Chelsea's point, she wasn't trying to look good or bad. She was authentically trying to see if this could work.
You know what? I'm just tired of reality TV and just like missing everything that happens off camera.
You want the Truman Show?
It's genuinely like
the Summer House car.
Genuine. Well, I was gonna go back to Summer House because I'm like, they got cameras all over the house, but not in the car, and it's like everything's happening in the car. Like, I'm just like, I need what's happening off camera. I need the little cameras stashed around Love Island style 24/7, and then y'all can figure out what you're gonna keep in and keep out. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, the he said, she said, it's so hard to follow because you're like, well, I'm seeing with what you're pretty much telling me I can't believe what I see with my own eyes. But that's what you're forming a judgment or a decision about a person's character. It's just what we're seeing on camera.
Yeah, I kind of like it, though, because it's kind of like real life. We always hear people's, when we hear our friends talking about their relationships with their partners, we're not privy to it. We don't get to see it. It's not like, they're not like saying, here, watch our fight from last night. And then we hear their side of the story, and then we kind of analyze it, take sides, hear the other person's side of the story. And we get to do that, by watching parts of these fights on these shows.
And that's where you and I differ a little bit because, like, I get a little piece of information. I'm becoming the CIA. Like, I want to get to the bottom of it. I need to figure out who I need to talk to get more information. So I'm like, I'm not just like, oh, hey, that's it. I'm like, okay, so then what did he say after you said this? So I'm like a little bit more nosier. I need the after show details.
Mm-hmm. I have a question for the FBI agent then. Do you think Carl should have the ring?
Do I think, yeah. Yeah, after what I've seen in the first 4 episodes, yeah. I was
All
like...
right, question though. Forgetting about whose side we're taking.
Okay.
Who cares about gender? 2 people get engaged.
Right.
One person buys a very assumingly expensive ring, or maybe that's part of the equation. Is there a certain monetary value where someone makes it a real investment that do you think the person receiving said ring should always give it back? Or do you think there's situations where that person gets to keep the 5,000, 10,000, I don't know. Like people, what do they say? It should be 3 months of your salary or whatever it is. Do you think this is a scenario when the person receiving said ring gets to keep ring regardless
I guarantee you would never expect Natalie to give you back a ring if you broke up.
Untrue.
You would want her to give it back.
Depends on the situation.
Really?
I say always. I would always give it back. If the relationship is over, I don't need to keep a memento. And if somebody spent a lot of money in hopes of forever and we got to the point to where we were like, it's not, I don't understand the want to keep a ring. That was like, cool, this is my first failed engagement. Like,
what if you get wouldn't want to keep it, but I think you're entitled to keep it.
I think if you get married, then you should be able to
and marriage
keep
is 2 different
things. Because someone gave it to you.
It's
kind of
they
like...
didn't give it to you as like hey, here,
happy
birthday, or I was thinking of you. It was to get married. It was
an
exchange. Not like no, I don't think it is like that.
Yeah,
I think it's like I bought this for you that you are wearing presumably for the rest of your life, but
I bought this for you with the expectation that we would spend the rest of our lives together, and this is somehow a symbol of our love and the investment I'm willing to make for the relationship.
Yep.
And for that person to be entitled to, and again, we're not
then
talking...
don't buy it.
Well, what if the ring is like a family heirloom?
That's different.
That's like a common thing too.
What if it's like life-changing money?
Then you're an idiot to spend that on a ring.
What if you want to do that for the person you love?
Then you don't really want to do it for them if you expect it back eventually.
Well, you only expect it back if that relationship or that person ceases to be what you thought it would be.
But like that line of morality, did they cheat on you, or did they just like end up like looking different than you expected as they aged? I mean, who knows what it could be?
What if that person breaks up with you? What if they're just like, I don't love you anymore?
But we're not talking marriage. We're talking getting up to the point of engagement to the point of marriage.
I was talking at any point.
There's no wedding.
No.
You're talking like however long it was, 9 months like, with Carl and Lindsay?
Just engagement.
Yeah, got up to the...
Yeah, I mean,
however
like,
long.
10 years from now?
Called off.
No, I was thinking long term. Sorry.
Yeah, but between getting engaged to the actual wedding, assuming there's no wedding to be had, a la Carl and Lindsay, who should, I feel like the guy should be entitled to have it back.
Okay, I agree with that.
If the guy proposed.
Sure.
Whoever gave
the ring. Yeah.
Did Lindsay, I missed the other side of that. Did he ask for the ring back and Lindsay was like, what the fuck?
Lindsay said that he demanded it back and then that she returned it because of New York law, so she was legally obligated.
But she didn't want to.
She said he demanded it, so that's implying that she didn't want to.
It just seems,
What else are you gonna do with it though? Like other than just
sell it on your own,
right?
Well,
but then it's like,
so
then it's like, so you're just
you're profiting off of, and we're talking real potential money here with some of these rings.
I said $200,000.
Wait, Carl said that?
No, I'm just saying that if you're spending $100,000, $200,000,
how much do you think Carl spent on it?
Even if it's $6, it doesn't matter. I'm like, to me, I'm like, if you're buying something and giving it, getting down, it's a whole ritual. You're getting down on one knee, expecting that we're exchanging our love to each other forever, and I will wear this symbol. That I'm like, if we don't make it to the aisle, I don't want the reminder of it. It's not something you can just wear. So unless you're just gonna buy it or sell it and get the money for it, what's the point in keeping it? Where I'm like, let him have his money back. Yeah.
Right. Like when you break up with someone, like, and you've moved in together, you take your couch back, I assume, right? Like,
or we talk about it.
Right.
You know, but I'm like, if you want it back and you spent the money, your hard-earned money, and we're not going to end up being together forever, then have it back.
Whoever gives it should get it back.
Yeah, because the only reason she'd keep it is for the money. Like, she's not keeping it for sentimental value of like, oh, this was from my failed engagement.
How toxic, if so? Like, it's just like, please come to my jewelry box. This is my first engagement from Joe.
Now, if the person who gives the ring let's say, cheats or breaks up with you, I still think that the person who gives it should give it back. Like, that's technically the right thing to do. But let's say, using the Carl Lindsay example, Carl was like, I don't love you anymore. I'm done. I don't want to. Well, and he did break up with her. So, but let's say it was not reasons that didn't include maybe using his addiction against him. Like, out of nowhere, Carl was superficially was like, I met another woman. Then I could see if Lindsay wanted to keep it, I wouldn't have a problem with it, so to speak. I guess who broke the promise?
That's interesting that New York law says that,
right? Because I don't think California law says that.
Like, that must
under what? Yeah, and under why? I mean, because legally it almost sounds like, what do they say? Ownership is 9/10 of the law, and in this scenario,
we need some
Lindsay
research.
Is
please.
The owner of Lindsay has possession.
Maybe that doesn't
of the ring, but New York state law is basically saying possession isn't 9/10 of the law.
Is that what it says?
Well, just in general, I've the few like law classes I've ever taken, all you hear is possession is 9/10 of the law. Like, if you are in ownership of whatever thing that is being discussed, debated, or fought over, who's in possession of said thing, that goes a long, long way.
So she said, I think in New York, there's a law with engagement rings that says it's a contingency gift contingent upon there being a wedding and a marriage. And if there's no wedding or marriage, then the gift belongs to the giver. So legally, the ring belongs to him.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay. So it is. So if they were married, she could keep it.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with that.
Yeah. That seems reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I said in the beginning.
Sure. Yeah. We got to it. We got to the. We finally landed on it. Scheana, you have thoughts?
Oh, you're gonna make me start with that?
You don't have to start with that. You came in very hot with an opinion about
she is grinding my gears this season. Maybe I'm watching too many TikTok edits of her saying, like, it's never gets to be about me, and they show every time that it was about her. But, like, talk about lacking self-awareness. Like, she just does not get how she's coming across, in my opinion.
No, she's not. You know what's interesting is, like, this whole season really is about, a friend group breakup. That's really what it's about. Right. And you have Ariana, to me, simply being a person who in her adult life, in her 30s, is just like setting new boundaries. I don't really care what you do per se, but I'm just like, I'm hanging around certain types of people. But if your choices somehow interact with that, I have to might make certain choices of my own, a la like Scheana, like trying to navigate this relationship with Tom and Ariana. And to me, what's interesting is, like, you have Katie, clearly, where Katie stands.
Yeah.
She is with Ariana. She has been affected and victimized by Sandoval herself. She has strong opinions of Sandoval. She also is just like, I don't really care about this friend group anymore. And that's what's interesting, is that to me is about the friend group. Even Lala and Scheana, it's about, like, they don't want to let go of the group. Mm-hmm. And Ariana doesn't care about the group anymore. Katie doesn't seem to care about the group anymore. And Scheana does. And I think what's interesting is I think Scheana is more like Tom. Scheana and Tom seem to go together, even as friends. I think.
How?
Look at their personalities. I think, like, for example, Tom, he is Vanderpump. He lives and dies for this show. You've seen the quotes when Sandoval, broke, him legitimately getting mad at Ariana for not being willing to film. And it was like, we've all put our lives on this show. We've all, embarrassed ourselves for the sake of the show. I'm committed to this show. I'm committed to making great TV. I think he's like, that's how he really feels. And I think Ariana just differently is like, listen, I was on this show when when I was young. I've been kind of, every season's been like a new decision for me. And now I've just decided to be done with this, and Tom is like deeply offended with, I think Scheana, like Tom, is like all in Vanderpump. I think when Scheana says, why can't this be about me? I get where she's coming from. I don't agree where she's coming from.
Where is she coming from?
She is coming from, it's about having the focus being on her. Like, having the whole season being about why everyone needs to feel sorry for Scheana, why Sheena's the victim, why Scheana is like, she's always been a B player on Vanderpump.
I know, but that's what that's what I don't respond well to, not just in Scheana, but like in anyone, like the Sandoval, the Scheana sort of like open sort of, not desperation, but like the open need for that sort of validation and attention from a storyline, Dancing with the Stars. Like it just, I don't know if it makes me sad or it makes me irritated. Like in some ways they're like openly saying like they're asking for their needs to be met, which I guess you could argue is like healthier than these other people who like low key want to be famous the whole time, but like won't come out and like do something for it. But like she just, I mean, and then I actually felt for her in the like sad meditation thing. Like I think she really is truly hurt by their friendship dissolving. 100%.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, anyone who like makes any moment about them, it's not like they're faking their feelings. They're just making a situation that really is about someone else, about them. Like it is how I don't think Scheana's being disingenuous at all about her feelings. I think these are her real feelings. I don't think she's making it up. I think she is just making a situation that's not about her, about her.
I have like an opposing kind of opinion.
Okay.
In the sense that I'm like, it's interesting to me that all of a sudden we want to be friends with Tom Sandoval now that we're not profiting off of hating Tom Sandoval. Like to me, I'm like, you made a song, you made merch.
That's not opposing. You're saying anti.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just saying. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, to where we're talking about like sympathy or thinking that her feelings are genuine. I kind of don't. Like, I feel like where I'm like, it's convenient for you to be in this position of hating Tom and being Team Ariana. Again, the pickup of the show filming is not that long after Sandoval broke. It was only a few months after. So it's also like all of a sudden now Lisa has one conversation. You can check on somebody's well-being and not have to be their best friend. You can still be kind to someone and not need them back in your circle. So it's like, for me, I'm like, all of a sudden we're crying over missing this friend who literally said 3 months prior that he's never been your friend. He's accused you of hitting Rachel and backed that up. And I'm like, now all of a sudden this is the person you need back in your life. And I'm supposed to feel bad for you? He's part of the reason why you have a restraining order on you.
She's very clearly conflicted and an emotionally distraught person, I think.
I think Scheana should pick Tom.
Because I don't think Ariana gives a shit about her.
I think Ariana's choices seem to have outgrown a friendship with Scheana. And I think Scheana's true loyalties, I think she has more in common with Tom. I think she has a closer friendship with Tom. I think she doesn't want to let go of her friendship with Ariana because, you know.
Ariana was hot at the minute.
Mm-hmm. Or just like, you know, and I don't doubt there's a real friendship there. But like, I think from a value system, Scheana and Tom Sandoval have more in common. And I think their friendship is more natural for them. I think Scheana's and Ariana's friendship is more based off of, you know, it's like, I think I should be friends with you, or, you know, because girl power, or like I'm supposed to like side with the woman, where I think deep down Scheana's true loyalties are with Sandoval.
I don't know about
That's
that.
weird.
What?
I don't know for sure. This is how
in the beginning, you think she honestly, I mean, I think she truly was fucking disgusted and horrified and felt like she couldn't.
This is also a girl season 2 or 3 that went to Ariana's mom saying that Tom Sandoval only looks out for himself and that he's not a good person. So I'm just like, this also hasn't been the longevity of her opinion for the last 10 years. She was not a fan of them being together.
Oh, I agree that Scheana was truly disgusted because Scheana's reaction to Sandoval was almost like, why are you so personally affected by this? You know, like, why are you hitting me?
Because she does, to the account, I think because she did think that Tom was so different than that. Not because, maybe to your point, she loved Ariana that much.
I think a lot of it too is that she's enjoying the fact that Tom seems so emotionally affected by the loss of their friendship.
Yeah.
And we see that, you know, at the lunch when she says that she truly believes that Tom is more upset about the loss of friendship between her and him than he is over the loss of Ariana.
But everyone else is like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
That was a wild thing to say, in my opinion. You were talking about Scheana saying that she genuinely believes that. And I was just like, in what world would you think that your friendship meant more to him than a 9-year relationship? Even if at the end it wasn't great. I'm like, that to me, I'm like, the need to be the main character all the time is just, it's flustering, to say the least.
She's almost carving out the narrative for herself.
Yeah.
Like she's making the show about her because nobody else is jumping to it. Because Ariana's not saying anything. Tom's saying something. So she's like, well, I might as well.
Speaking of making things about yourself, what's going on with you and Scheana?
What about it?
She commented on
Did she?
The post that you made, and
which one? We make a lot of content here on the show.
Was it the Scheana head? That's
it was the Scheana head moving, and she had some choice words.
What was the content of the Scheana
on the TikTok or did she comment on TikTok or Instagram?
Instagram.
It's what you were saying, Amy, where she's like, the show's never been about me, and then it's like every wedding that she's done, every good as gold performance, like a supercut.
Okay,
supercut of it being all about her.
Yeah, essentially.
She commented on that video. What'd she say?
She said, clearly this podcast is now about me too, with a emoji.
That's pretty good.
And then she commented, I can't remember where the response is, but the response was something like, I think the comment said that this is a podcast about Scheana, and she goes, only way for Nick to stay relevant.
That's... And I'm not here to gas Nick up, believe. But like...
Oh yeah, but then how would he stay relevant? Crying, laughing.
As if Scheana is how you stay relevant. Honey.
I was like, I feel like she doesn't know that I'm like...
We cover a show you're on, Scheana.
Literally.
And you are making the show about you.
Wait, but why did she say that she thought, like going back to this quote-unquote feud, like she was like, I thought me and Nick were friends. Like,
Scheana's been on the show. I would consider her...
Did you like text? Do you hang out?
Yeah, no, but like we're friendly. You know, I was always cool with Scheana, but then we had Charlie on, and Charlie had some things to say about Scheana, and ever since then, it's been like Scheana seems to be upset, and then like now we're recapping Vanderpump, and I didn't choose to act the way she is acting. I don't like
timing, babe. Timing. Like your show is airing now, and this is reality recap. We're gonna talk about your behavior.
Should we make it a challenge to never say her name?
No, that's like giving what she wants. Bro.
Yeah.
No, true.
Well, that's actually that's not what she wants.
Well, yeah, we can like
that person
not acknowledge.
No, but I think it is.
That's true.
So you're saying it's a one-sided feud that's happening right now.
I mean,
you have no negative feelings towards Scheana
as a person. Yeah. Absolutely not.
Clear the air.
As a person, as a what else?
As a character on a show, that's what this show is. We're commentating. Like it's like.
But you just were saying how the overlap between that was you were talking about that earlier.
What do you mean?
The overlap between the reality persona and the off-screen persona.
Yes, but when our criticism, the household criticism of Scheana recently has been her behavior on the show, and so it hasn't been like I've seen,
which you don't think bears a reflection on who she is.
Sure, I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt, but I'm saying specifically our criticism, like the videos we've made and the content have been commenting about a show.
Right.
And we're responding to what we're seeing on the show. It's not like it's been like, you haven't seen anyone or me being like, I ran into Scheana at a party and here's what happened behind closed doors, or here's what I think about Scheana the person. It's more like I'm watching sound bites and clips.
The portrayal
of the character she has decided to be. And yes, we have come to learn that, especially when it comes to Bravo World, that there might not be much of a discrepancy between these people, the characters, and these people in real life. But, when it comes to our most recent commentary on Sandoval or Scheana, it's been about Scheana going on Vanderpump and saying, it's never been about me, and us being like, babes.
So does that mean we're team Katie then, that they should cut ties and move on?
I think so.
Yeah. Wait, what?
Katie said at the lunch that she was saying, I don't understand why you're giving compassion to Sandoval. This man is a demon, and we should really all just cut ties.
I mean, at some point, you just like a part of being adult is just saying, enough is enough. I don't want to be around this person. And like Ariana and Katie have every right to do that without having to explain themselves.
Certainly Ariana.
But even Katie or anyone. Like to say like, listen, I don't want to fuck with this person anymore. We all have the right to say that. Right?
Yeah.
I don't want to do it. I've given this person enough of chances. I'm done over. If they can go work on themselves all they want, I doubt they're going to do it. But if they do, I still don't want any part of it. Like that's
100%. I've done that many times.
Yeah. And everyone seems to be getting mad at Ariana and Katie for doing it.
I think it's so bizarre where I said boundaries are things that you set for yourself, not for other people. So I'm not telling you that I won't be your friend if you hang out with this person. But yeah, the dynamics of our relationship or friendship will change based off of the choices you made and what that person has done to me. And I think that that's entirely fair.
Lala.
Yeah.
I'm over her saying disengage.
You think it's like trying to be a catchphrase?
I don't know if it's even trying to be a catchphrase. It's just Lala acting like no one has the right to question her. Like, how dare you come at me? And that's fine. But Lala comes at a lot of people and she comes at them hard. Not just in general, that scene between Katie and her.
Actually
it made me
love. Really? You were very team Katie.
Oh my God, yes.
See, she kind of annoyed me in that interaction.
Why? What about it?
I thought she escalated it first.
I think she
called her a bitch. She like.
Yeah, but Katie never, like, you rarely see Katie. I just thought, like, Lala is trying to point out. It's like Lala went through this thing with Randall, and now it's like Lala acts like she gets to decide how, because of what she went through, how Ariana should handle it, or that because Lala chose to get over things that now Ariana.
Remind me what Katie was exactly mad about.
Lala made a comment about it in comparison to her relationship or her situation with Randall. Yeah. And then she was like, I could say something right now, but don't make me, or something like that. And Katie was like, ooh, like, and then she was like, well, then just say it with your chest. Don't threaten me.
Yeah.
And then that's when they got into it.
But I still don't get what she's mad about.
Because why Lala was upset?
No, why Katie was upset.
I think Katie was defending her position to take the side that she was taking, or just be the friend that she is trying to be to Ariana. And right now, Scheana's doing her version of it, but Lala is trying to take the more pragmatic approach, again, following her behavior on the reunion of season 10, which was aggressive. And now trying to be like, well, let me more pragmatically explain, while Ariana needs to, like, get over it, look the other way, turn the other cheek, not hold a grudge, and let me use my past experience.
Right, you think she's being hypocritical. That's what Katie thinks too.
Well, and this is in context of Lala saying, I think everybody's afraid of losing Ariana as a friend. So I think Katie was just like...
I think Katie's saying, like, let Ariana go through this experience how she needs to, and we don't need your input for how Ariana should behave.
And thanks for your opinion, Lala, but, like, I disagree, or doesn't make Ariana wrong.
I thought it was more that Lala was saying, like, this is our feelings about people can change, and it doesn't need to be so black and white that, like, if Scheana wants to be friends with him, like, maybe you should, like, let her.
But that's what I'm saying. It's just like, at the end of the day, people are acting like it is Ariana's fault for Scheana not being able to be friends with Tom. And I'm saying, at some point in our adult life, when we get into our 30s, it's not like you don't get to be friends with everyone. You don't get to be like Mr. or Mrs. Congeniality. Sometimes you have to take fucking sides. Sometimes shit happens where it's just like, you know what? As you pointed out, you've had to do that thing. And Ariana is trying to do this, and Katie is also having her back. And I think at the end of the day, Lala, Scheana, Sandoval, and James, what they are trying to protect isn't Tom, it's the group.
Mm-hmm.
The show.
Yeah. No, the show. I think it's the show. Yeah.
Whatever you want. But even in real life, forgetting about the show, that thing that happens in real life a lot. I think people have, like, when you're in your 20s, you have a group of friends. And shit happens. And then, the group always kind of breaks up. And there's always people who don't want to let go of the group, because the group's fun and we always go out and we take trips together, and people don't want to disrupt the group. And I think right now, Lala and Scheana don't realize their own bias.
They're being James is being far more. When I watched this, I was like, homeboy's already going out to dinner with him. Like,
the three are back together.
That switched so fast.
Sure, yeah, all of them. But no, James isn't trying to convince Ariana or Katie to do anything.
I don't think that Lala is trying to convince them to do anything personally. She's just saying, let Scheana and James and I be around Tom without giving us shit, right?
They're kind of recognizing an ultimatum. Lala is saying that everyone's afraid of Ariana, but saying it to her face is being like, you're creating this energy that it's either you or the group. So I can see why Ariana and Katie are like, if you're going to say that with your chest.
Yeah.
Like, don't dance around it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just feel like Ariana and Katie have a right to say, I don't know, pick a side.
Yeah, they have that right.
And I don't think that makes them the bad guy, because they've chosen not to, for the umpteenth time, look the other way through the actions of Tom Sandoval.
Their silence is irritating them more. I think that's what it is, because Ariana and Katie are just pulling out, and they're like, no. Like, they want you to keep feeding.
They're like, we all got over this in the past. The show must go on. You need to get back, re-engage the group.
Mm-hmm.
And Ariana's like, nah, I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
And I think she has the right to do that.
Can we talk about Joe? The Shorts' Joe?
Admits that they had sex together.
Well, she does.
Oh, I forgot
she
all
says
about
it.
That was that's a personality I didn't know existed. She's very, like, facial, very, like, big, and I was not expecting that from Joe, but then I have to remember that Katie did say that was Kristen Doute's crazy friend.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm actually willing to, if she is being honest that like, oh, when did you sleep together? Oh, I don't remember the last time. Oh, we slept together a month ago. Like, if Tom Schwartz is having intimate sex with her and clearly they're not on the same page, I think Joe has the right to like feel a certain way about it.
1,000%.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I think the whole way that she's being brought on is so awkward. And I feel like it's just like, she's saying that she's still having relations with Schwartz, which he's saying that they're friends and kind of like denying or saying, I can't remember the last time. She's kind of just like the standalone character where I'm like, why are we bringing her in and how does she have an interview already?
Also knowing that he is dating someone else in real life now kind of ruins the mysticism of her being brought on the show.
Yeah, and he should be with the girl Katie Floody from Winter House.
Yeah.
That was a better fit for him.
Such a better fit.
Yeah, I think it's just more like I felt bad for her because like the internet's being really mean
Yeah, I
on
do
her,
too.
mean to her, and like all she did is like believe that her friend might be a slut. She's getting the Chelsea edit.
Yeah,
and Tom is like, and Tom's like, well, I don't,
See, but that's a situation that you're talking. I mean, in a less harsh version, you could be like, well, what did she expect? She got into a relationship with someone who just got out of a marriage. Like, like where's the accountability as an adult woman?
I mean, I think if you have sex with someone, like they, they can feel. I don't know what conversations Joe and Tom had afterwards. My guess is Tom didn't make it like, hey, like we're just friends. They probably didn't talk about it.
She moved in with him right after she got divorced.
It seems like they have some sort of like plan where when he's how old did he say?
He said like in 2 to 3 years or something. He was talking about aliens coming and he was like, in 2 to 3 years, I'll be ready to be in a relationship with you or something. And I was like, what insurance is that?
You know how like
he's
best
saying
friends
some
have
things
like
that she's picking up on that he's not saying to lead her on. He's saying to not be the bad guy. And she is interpreting it.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
when aliens come to so there's a chance.
You sure you're not a tall gray? I was like,
and
this
we're
is the
all making
oddest.
fun of her for being delusional. And I'm like,
I'm not making fun of her for being delusional.
I mean the internet, not us.
Oh, okay.
But
I was like, I feel like it was a bold choice and unnecessary to bring her on to begin with.
I just feel like in general, we're at the mid-season.
Yeah.
And it's a weird spot.
Guys, I'm sorry. I don't think
Nothing's
Vanderpump is long for this world.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I think it's done.
Did you see Andy's little
no. What did he say?
He was flying into LA. They filmed the reunion this weekend, the Vanderpump reunion.
Yeah.
And he was like, I just binged the last 7 episodes because, by the way, I agree with you. I felt like up until this weekend, like this is it. Like this is a show about a group that doesn't want to stay together. Ariana is making choices for herself outside of the show and healthy choices. But as far as the show goes, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And I don't know what Andy meant by this, but he was like, this is not an ad. I'm not a producer of the show. Yeah, he hosts a reunion, but like, I'm going out there and putting it out there that this is an amazing ending, an incredible finish, and a great season. And I just binged the last 7 episodes, and you're all going to be blown away.
A great finish, a great ending.
That's what Andy Cohen said.
So you're saying you think it's wrapped up, or it could be keep going?
That was unclear. But I don't think they necessarily. I mean, if they can keep going, they can keep going.
Well, in my interview with Ariana, she was like, I think she basically all but said. She said, I wouldn't leave the show till I had another financially equal job set up. And that if Bravo would not cancel it if it was doing this well. But I don't know.
Is that pre-Chicago?
No.
Oh, another thing that I'm kind of blown away by is, and maybe they're downplaying their financial situations, but how are they all seemingly broke?
Who?
Ariana said she was down to her last 2,000.
Scheana
because of the sandwich shop.
Because of the sandwich shop?
She had to put like a lot of her savings into that.
Interesting. But I only bring that up just
now she's not broke.
But cast, it's the whole cast. Recently Scheana had to borrow money.
Tom had to do his tour because he needed to make
Tom
money.
needed money. Ariana,
well, how much money do you think they make on that show, Nick?
Well, we know that Rachel made it, what, 350 or whatever. And I'm going to assume that she was on the low end of things. This is not counting.
Not that low.
No, I know. Yeah, I don't think there's a huge delta.
Yeah.
But we're still talking. That's real money, first of all. I don't know how they spend their money.
Okay, but let's say like half of that for taxes. Tom Sandoval has a mortgage of how much?
Sure.
So I'm not saying, and I think
he also pays his whole tour, right? He pays like the band.
I could just see that going real quick if that's their only income.
Well, they also have social media. Yeah, that's kind of the point. We've all seen people blast through $50 million.
And Scheana like outright said basically she's like supporting a lot of their relationship, right? Like Brock doesn't have a big income. So I don't know.
It's just wild that they seem to be struggling with money. So many.
You're saying they should have money managers.
I mean, regardless of I don't know what they're spending on. That's kind of my point.
I don't think they were struggling. Scheana just bought a house in Sherman Oaks. So did Lala. They both have houses in Palm Springs. Like
Tom Sandoval just handed over a brand new pair of Gucci glasses to James because they look good on him.
Again, I don't know. I'm just literally going off of the most handful of recent episodes.
As of a year ago or whatever. Yeah.
Multiple cast members have talked about money problems. And this is a group of people who have been famous for the better part of a decade. And we're on social media when social media was on the come up. When there weren't an oversaturated influencer market where they were one of the few people who had the following, who were consistently on TV, that had appearances, all the ways these people can and have made money. Again, I don't know how they're doing it. I don't know who's managing the career. I don't know who's managing finances. But knowing the world they operate in and what opportunities are potentially available to them, I am surprised to find out how many of them seem to have money problems. You got their show paycheck. They all have close to or somewhere around 1 million followers. They all, women with women in an audience, it makes it easier to promote things that they might use that their audience might be influenced by. So there's a zillion ways they can make money outside of podcasting that have been available to them. It's just, I don't know. It's just surprising. I don't know.
I mean, to that point, if they own multiple homes, you would assume that they have money.
And also, you can be cash poor, and you can have 3 houses
rich,
and not have money, So
I think that was the case with Ariana.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just it was just more like, it's like 3 weeks in a row of someone being like, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm having money problems. And I was just a little caught off guard.
Scheana and Lala should be Airbnb-ing their Palm Springs houses at premium prices.
Maybe.
They could.
Well, there's a lot of rules about that nowadays when it comes to Coachella or Stagecoach and owning property. Either way, again, that's the point. They clearly seem to be spending money in an interesting way. I think we just got to close up with some Vanderpump Housewives. I've sympathized with Kyle.
I know you do.
But let's hear the argument.
Yeah.
Well,
I am newish to the show, and I've I can understand why she might not want to totally talk about her 23-year-old marriage, falling through the cracks. But I'm not aware of other. It seems like she was
talking about the marriage is fine, and I understand that. But at the same time, again, you can't sit there and say you won't talk about your marriage and then tell your kids that you're getting a divorce on camera and say that those two don't go together.
I've seen a lot of criticism of the bringing the kids.
Keep it off camera if you want it off camera. Also, before this season started, you didn't have to go walking around Rodeo Drive and everywhere that paparazzi are with your friend, partner, fling, whatever it may be, and then be surprised that it's not only a talking point of the show, but that your viewers have questions. So I'm like, you know who you are. You know how long you've been on the show. You've outed friends, family members with their things that I'm sure they would prefer to have kept quiet. And yet now that the spotlight is on you, it's like, well, you can't ask me that. I just don't know. I don't have an answer. And it's like, but you expect other people to have an answer. So that's not fair.
It's hard for me to argue that because you know more about the show than I do.
Well, it's just, as I said, she didn't have to go around getting photographed with somebody. If you wanted to keep the discrepancies in your marriage quiet, there's 10 different ways to go about it. And she chose the most public way to gas up excitement about the season. And hate to break it to you, but the season kind of fell flat because she refused to talk about anything, in my opinion.
I mean, even at the end, Andy asked her, is there anything going on between you guys? She goes, nothing. A second later, she goes, well, I'm curious. Like there might be in the future. I don't know.
In the future. Yeah, I definitely was like, she gave vaguely worded enough answers that I read between the lines was the way I felt.
Which is what she wants. Like, I think she wants us to read between the lines, but I do
Why
think
wouldn't she just
maybe
say
I'm just
it?
a sucker for Kyle Richards. Maybe she just, I'm falling for that.
You?
What?
It's the same thing with like Kate Middleton, all of these situations where it's like, just take the selfie, call it a day. Just say, hey, I'm interested. We're figuring things out. Okay. Like,
What would be her argument if she was dating Morgan? Why we think she would just come forward with that?
Because I think it's a whole new area of her life in which I understand. I'm like, she's been married to a man for 40 something or 30 odd years. Like, I get it. It's starting a new chapter of your life and that could be scary. But I'm like, I think the Band-Aid has been ripped off if it's a real relationship, you know?
Let me ask you a question. What if at the reunion, she would have said, can I address the group? I realize in the past that I have come at maybe even all of you at one point and insisted for the sake of the show, kind of like a la Tom Sandoval, that you were, I've come at you, I've demanded you explain yourself. And now that I am going through this with Mo, I realize that I'm sorry. And because this is shit that's super sensitive. You're talking about a 23-year-old marriage and is she being hypocritical? Yes. But would that have landed for you if she acknowledged that maybe now that she's going through it, it's a lot harder to talk about this type of stuff than she has expected some of her peers to get into?
Sure. But yet again, you're talking about a reality TV star taking accountability, which seems to be one of the hardest things for them to do.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I don't have as strong feelings as Sarah does, but I just don't like that argument in general of the Tom and Kyle both being like, I do this, so you should do this. Like, no, just do you. Stop worrying about all these other people who are not revealing things or not. I hate that.
Yeah, or it just makes me feel like you point the finger at other people, and then when it comes back to you, it's like, oh, no, you just be forthcoming, be honest, or nip it in the bud how you want it to be portrayed and call it a day. But instead, you make it more difficult for yourself and then act like you're the victim when people keep asking you about something that you won't just set straight.
I think if she's curious and she's struggling with her sexuality, then the advice from me, being a queer person, would be don't put her on the show to get tattoos and then to lick a lollipop with her. She's teasing a carrot that she knows people are gonna
grab.
Pat a scissor.
Do you think it's shitty? Is it baiting?
I think it's baiting.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe she is in a relationship.
Or what's his name from Love Is Blind making the TikTok? It's we don't want to question you, but also don't make videos coming out of a literal closet and then suggesting you have a secret.
Because at the end of the day, even Kathy makes vague statements of support.
Yeah.
So maybe it is something serious, and hopefully she has that support. But I think don't dangle that fruit and then get mad if someone takes a bite.
What did you guys think when Sutton fainted?
I think it made her look old.
Can't.
Nick.
Wow. I don't know.
Wait, why because she looked frail?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen somebody faint like that. Faint.
It was like
that was it. It played raw. It played weird, but
it did.
My big it made.
I think it made her look old.
Because it seemed to be based off of nothing, and the only people who just seem to randomly fall over are just, the elderly.
I'm surprised she just left.
It made her come across.
She was great, I can peace out.
Finally.
Well, Kathy was even I was going to come after her, so.
It made her look frail.
Whatever. So everyone can shit on Kyle or what. Sutton's my Scheana of Beverly Hills Housewives. Sutton drives me nuts.
I can see it.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Sutton. Justin's a big Sutton fan.
I'm a Sutton stan.
Yeah.
No, see, there's all these people who get off on liking the most unlikable person on the show and turning them into the hero. And I'm like, why are you doing this? They're actually the most problematic person on the show.
I will say I've met Sutton in person, and she's she said things to me that are very inspirational and supportive of young people. So I think to me, I'm she gets the blind eye.
And what's your big problem with Sutton?
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily in disagreement, but I just want to. What specifically?
She sucks. Her personality, it sucks. I could see a similarity. She has the same I'm the victim energy. I everything is done to me and I'm so wrong that I just don't respond well.
Do you think she faked her fainting because knowing that Kathy might come for her?
No. I don't go that far with the conspiracy. I just dislike, I don't want to hang out with her.
You didn't name them.
Yeah.
Name them.
Stop. What what else did she do that was annoying? Oh, the elevator thing with Erica.
The dollar bills.
Saying that coming out rushing out in the hall. She's offended by the strip show. It's
I think her character is a little different than her in person for sure, though.
Just
from my experience.
Okay.
What do you think of Erica?
I like Erica. What do you think? Have you guys watched Better Blonde?
Of course I did.
I need to.
I've always liked Erica. I
like Erica as a character, yeah.
But how she's handled her own little scandal, I don't buy her story.
Which scandal? She has so many.
Her husband.
You don't buy that she didn't know about it?
No, actually, I believe that, but I don't know why she is still trying to convince people of it. And then her acting like she's just as much of a victim as the real victims. It like hasn't landed with anyone. And she seems to think she's entitled to some grand apology to her.
I agree.
By her friends, where her friends were like, I didn't know what to believe, but like you have gone about this.
No, she's like,
hard to support.
Wait. She's like, everything will come out and you'll see that I had a reason to not basically be sympathetic to the victims was sort of her argument, right? And then it came out that she did not have to give the earrings back on appeal because like they couldn't prove that he paid for them with that money.
Because
like that doesn't validate the way your lack of empathy or empathy towards the victims. Those are unrelated issues. So why would everyone support? Yeah, it doesn't make sense. That being said, I do enjoy watching her.
Oh, excellent housewife.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that wraps it up.
God, that was like $800, guys.
Amy, please let my audience know where they can find you.
Come to the LA Times Festival of Books in April and see me interview Jay Shetty. But you can find me at Amy K in LA on all the social media platforms.
And she's got a book out?
That's like 800 years old.
Okay. Just want to
Thank you, though. It was about The Bachelor. Hey, that's how Nick and I met.
There you go. All right. Well, thanks for listening. We'll be back on Thursday. Oh, yeah. Obviously, we didn't get to tell all. We haven't watched it yet. But anything that interesting happens, we'll talk about it on the intro of Going Deeper. Bye.
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 Hey guys, if you loved what you listened to, make sure you hit that subscribe button below. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.